The sun is setting on the Florida East Coast near a NASCAR icon. While the days are getting shorter and the light shines for fewer hours each day, the sunset brings an ironic beginning for the Outsider Racing League. It's the start of a new season, one that will take us from coast to coast to speedways, short tracks, and road courses, and the start of a new championship fight with some of the best in the business. When the smoke clears in the middle of January, we'll declare a champion. This is the Outsider Racing League, and this is Sim TV. We're at the World Center of Racing, the high banks of Daytona, to start it all over again. Welcome to Sim TV. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined tonight by Liam Sheen for the first of many rounds in the Fall 2020 Championship for the Outsider Racing League. This will take us all the way to January 16th of 2021, and hopefully the world will be a bit less chaotic, Liam, but starting anew from Daytona, the best place to start any NASCAR season.
Yeah, this track is really historic with NASCAR. It opens every single NASCAR season, and I'm not going to be surprised to see a very, very good race with how strong this field is in iRacing here tonight.
Yeah, we were looking at the list before we went live here tonight. iRating's well up into the 5,000 and 6,000 range. I think we have an SOF around 3,700 here tonight, which is unbelievable. Normally we don't pay attention to iRating, but when it's this notable, we sort of have to. A stacked field, almost 40 cars lined up for racing tonight. Some new teams, some new faces here at the Outsider Racing League that we haven't seen yet, and some new team shuffles, including Alex Bell transitioning over to Sim Motorsports. That'll be a three-car team this season around, joined by Casey Lakatos and Yusuf Ghali. So as we head down to the racetrack for qualifying, again, we're at Daytona International Speedway, constructed in 1959. Liam, you mentioned it's where every NASCAR season starts, and there's a reason for it. Historic and full of history at a place like this, Daytona Beach, Florida. 70,000 people here, and about that in the stands for the race tonight.
Yeah, well, there isn't that many fans in the stands in real life for the Coke Zero 400 race. This clearly has a lot in this simulator. So 4 turns, 2.5 miles. It's not as wide as you think when you're going 200 miles an hour, which makes 3 wide moves a little treacherous, but it's going to be really interesting to see how these guys work around that tonight and see if the elusive big one happens.
So as I still got to change this announcer graphics. I still got Finney on here. It's hard to get rid of him. His influence still stands here, running the cameras from Finney D'Acuna tonight. He's kind of stepping back his role as we head into the tail end of 2020. How about the weather, though? 70 degrees in the air, 72 on the racetrack. Qualifying underway. I'm not sure it matters a whole lot out there, Liam. I'd say that qualifying is about as important as where you're running a lap number 2. It's not going to matter. Where it matters is where you finish on the final lap of the race, and that will be at lap number 100 tonight. Steve Turner making his return. Eric Mickey returning to Outsider Racing League for the first time in a while. Some other new names kind of showing up here in the running order. Russell Arnold, Jaron Sanchez, Bryant Stewart, Matt Close here in the 92, so still some more new names populating, and this is a heck of a way to get introduced to a new group here, Liam, is with 40 cars at Daytona. Is that easier or harder as a new driver?
Kind of harder as a new driver. You don't really know how these drivers will race unless you race with them in official or in other leagues, but it's pretty difficult to make friends out there with a brand new field. They don't know you, mainly being the worst part about all of that, but they don't know you. You're pretty much out of luck, and you have to make it happen on your own. But 40 cars, I mean, it's going to be a really tight field, and it's going to be really interesting to see these strategies, see if people hang back or people go to the front and try to lead every lap. Going for the pole is pretty much a statistic. You just want the number on the poles next to you on the postseason statistic for you, and that's pretty much the reason why Jonathan Hernandez probably went for the pole there. Wouldn't be surprised to see him drop back and try to keep his car there for the end.
47.468. He goes to the top of the board. Eddie Trejo in the number 21 Amazon Prime Ford Mustang. We've got some more Fords in the field here tonight, including Andrew Telganoff. We'll see how he can do. I think he's sort of on his own here this evening team-wise, so we'll keep an eye out for Andrew. I don't think he's run a qualifying lap just yet. He might start towards the back. A lot of drivers are probably going to elect to do that. I always question this decision, though, not to qualify and to start towards the back. When so many people do that, it's sort of the hive mind mentality, Liam, then everybody starts back there, and not everyone can start at the back. We've only got 14 cars qualified, so then you're just going to get ordered up by iRating, and you're going to end up sort of randomized.
Yeah, with a lot of the drivers, I think the worst part about all that is the people that qualify and then drop to the back. It's just makes it really hectic. So I'd say the more safer range to be at these super speedway races around 12th to 13th, where you're not too far back to make a move and make a push to the front, but you're not in the middle of the pack where everyone's going crazy. So I think the 40th place range is not really where you want to be. It's because you have the fear of losing the draft, but also you may, if crunch time happens where you have to make a move to get to the front, you probably won't have enough time to make it.
So with qualifying complete, it is the new driver, Jonathan Hernandez, at the top of the board, the number 1 car. You'll notice when we get back live here that we've got drivers with green numbers on the timing and scoring available right here on Sim TV. The drivers with the green numbers are eligible for an extra cash prize if they win the race under green flag conditions. And we know that in the past, the Dash for Cash drivers have not really had the best of luck. But I think the most recent Dash for Cash race that we ran here on Sim TV with the Outsider Racing League, that driver did win. So there is a little bit of momentum for the drivers with the green numbers on the sides of their car and on the ticker. The notable exception to that will be Eric Hutton in the 08. He is in the 08 car, will show up as the 88 on the timing and scoring just due to the way that things are set up here tonight. So we'll head down to the racetrack. We'll roll through our starting grid here row by row, and I'll start us off here, Liam, on row number 1, Jonathan Hernandez, and on the outside, Zach Carr in the 27.
And in row 2, you'll have the number 33 of AJ Stravado, a great plate racer, and Adam Cabot in the 77.
In row number 3, starting on the inside in 5th, Bryce Calusa in the number 20, found a lot of success last season, going to try to continue. Skylar Shackelford in the 88 starts 6th.
And in 7th, you have Josiah Vincent in the 44, I believe, and Jeremy Miller in the number 30 car, also a really aggressive plate racer.
Yep, apologies for the numbers. That was my mistake here tonight. 36, Joshua Banks in starting in 9th, and on the outside, didn't catch who was in 10th there, but Steve Turner, Brian Chambliss, 11th and 12th. We'll let the rest of that scroll along the bottom of the screen as we get prepared for 100 laps here from Daytona. Let's talk plate package, as we have done for so long. Having a look here at the spoilers on these cars, Liam. Look how sizable they are. They are huge, and that creates a lot of draft, a lot of suck up, a lot of speed differential. How challenging is that, or is that a pro driving these cars here tonight?
It's sort of a double-edged sword. I mean, you used to be able to pull away with the old package, or at least kind of tandem draft to keep your car safe from everyone else for a few laps if you want to stay committed to that guy you're drafting with. But nowadays, it's kind of like a mix between the Xfinity Cars package and that Cup Cars package. With the reduction of power that NASCAR added in 2020, it's a little bit, it's good for those who have a little bit of problems with car control. It really keeps the car plain on the ground. But also, once you get a little bit sideways or sideways enough, it'll make it really easy to overcorrect the car. So it's kind of a double-edged sword there, but I wouldn't be surprised to see people being able to commit to 3 wide moves and, keep their car steady in the pack.
All right, so the field going to double up side by side and get prepared for 100 laps from the World Center of Racing. The field now rolling through 1 and 2 and climbing up onto the back straightaway. A couple other drivers to note throughout the field. We talked about Alex Bell moving over to Sim Motorsports. Right below him is the 54. That's Yusuf Ghali. Was a huge contender for the championship last season. Wasn't able to get it done. He's running the Grid Life 54 Camry. Notably, next week for the Road America race, I will actually be physically present at Road America and live streaming that race from the National Park of Speed. So make sure that you tune in for a very special broadcast next Sunday, or actually, next Saturday night from Road America as we tackle Grid Life Elkhart Classic. We'll be there for Outsider Racing League in the evening. We'll head to the green flag here in just a moment. To the outside is the 27 of Zach Carr. He found himself in victory lane a few times last season. Wasn't able to take that all the way to a championship. It was Connor Horn. He'll start deep in the field tonight. A little bit back in his number 3 Goodwrench Services race car. Out of turn number 4, the new season of the Outsider Racing League about to begin. Up in front, Jonathan Hernandez in the number 1, a brand new driver to the series. He's about to lead a field of thundering 40-car deep Outsider Racing League competitors. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Daytona for 100 laps. The Outsider Racing League is green.
27 got a really good start there. He has a little bit of help from that 77, but that inside lane's going to be able to collect up more than that outside lane is, and they're going to get that. Jonathan Hernandez is going to get that little nose off the corner and maybe able to keep the lead down the backstretch.
Side by side, still for the race lead. Zach Carr is going to have a push from behind. That's the 77, a Cabot car dropping low. That, I believe, is the 99, is Sam Devontier in the 15th place car. The 27 pulls right down in front of the 1 into turn number 3. An aggressive slot down into turn 3. I cannot believe they didn't just wad up the whole pack right there.
Yeah, great heads-up driving by that 1 to get off the throttle, but he's going to push that number 30 or that 27 out to the lead, and he'll try to get that outside line moving with him so he can get that push from the 77 and try to take the lead back. I'm not sure who led the lap that time, but it was really close. Jonathan Hernandez by .033.
And he'll just pull down in front of the 27, so he'll lead the first lap. Pretty wild racing at the front of the field. Is this too aggressive for the starter, or is this sort of what we expected par for the course?
Well, it's hard to tell. Jonathan just wanted to lead that lap, looks like, and he's going to drop to the back, get that extra bonus lap point, so lap point. But it seems to be all the aggressions towards the front, but they're starting to settle down a little bit. So I'm seeing there's going to be no problem with it here, but who knows?
Through 3 and 4 now. Zach Carr on the bottom. Adam Cabot up on the top of the racetrack with help from Skylar Shackelford. He's got the green number. He is a Dash for Cash competitor tonight, and will get an extra cash prize for winning this race under green flag conditions. In behind them is the 33 of AJ Stravato, rocking a brand new LMCgear.com livery in the orange, gray, and black Chevrolet Camaro. Josiah Vincent makes his return to ORL now. The Oreo 44 on the outside lane, right above Bryce Calusa, and great double file stack out of turn number 2 on lap number 3.
Yeah, one thing I'm starting to notice is there's a little bit of a pack going on towards the back of this group here. It looks like people that are trying to not go to the back, and some people are trying to get their way up to the front so they don't lose this draft. But that's one of the concerns we talk about, is you can't be too far back to not make a move, and you also do not want to lose the lead draft, because it also takes the ability to save fuel out of the question here. One thing I forgot to mention that has been a very big part of NIS Fix last week is people pitting early. It's a really good strategy to see people pit like around lap 5, lap 6 to try to make the whole fuel window, pushing their cars all the way, while the front pack decides to save their cars to save some fuel. They'll be going slower, but that pack that pits would be able to make up all that time or all that difference. And it looks like with how hard these guys are pushing up here, it wouldn't surprise me one bit to see some of these guys peel off early here, lap 4, lap 5, lap 6, to get that pit stop under the way.
We'll see what happens here as we go through 3 and 4. You mentioned that second pack. I'm noticing that Alex Bell, the new Sim Motorsports driver, has not yet found his teammates in the 54 and 50 car. Casey Laconis and Yusuf Ghali, they're nose to tail. They've worked well together at plate races in the past. They almost won here last season, weren't able to quite get it done. I'm curious to see if we can get that 15 car tacked up, but it's hard to have a 3-car team because you're sort of uneven. You don't have 2 and 2, and I'm not really sure if that matters, if you're better off with 2 cars, 3 cars, or 4 cars here, Liam, but we might see a bit of shuffling later in the race. The 33 comes up and picks up the 77, and they're going to push and shove down the backstretch.
Yeah, 3 cars, it doesn't really matter that much as long as it's, you guys are in the same line. If you're in your own line while the other 2 are in one line, it would kind of matter a little bit, but I don't think it really matters that much. But you wouldn't really have the extra guy behind you to help out if you got separated from the front 2. But it doesn't really matter that much. But AJ Stravato took the lead. A really good plate racer. Wouldn't surprise me one bit to see him lead a lot of laps here tonight. Yeah,
and AJ Stravato, I believe, was the winner here from last season, or at least I think we went there twice last season, and he won there at least. I think he won both Daytona races, if I recall correctly. So Stravato has a lot of history here, running quite well. So does Jeremy Miller in the number 30. He won here a few seasons ago, and he has worked his way up into 27th. Well, he started in 8th, so he's actually dropped backwards, and looks like he's picked up the 6th car of Andrew Talganoff, who was an admin for this series a little time ago, and a great-looking livery on that car with the Outsider Racing League logo on it, and that Mustang looks so mean.
Yeah, that beautiful new logo Outsiders Racing League added this year, or this season, fits this car really well, and I like this little design they have here. Really fits this, the whole logo and the whole theme of this league's overall. I'm not really surprised I'm actually kind of surprised to see that 30 car not being as aggressive as he was in, an official. I've seen him in official and other leagues, and he was really aggressive, and I'm really surprised to see him not being nearly as aggressive as he was there. So Jeremy Miller, I wouldn't be surprised to see him make a huge push for it at the end. He makes really aggressive moves, and they usually pay off.
Great battles for the race lead. The 27 is Zach Carr has backed out. He dropped down to 11th now, and Adam Cabot will take over the race lead as they come across the line to complete the 7th lap. Eric Mickey in the number 41. He is a staple over in the Sim Championship Racing Series. They run Porsches and Ferraris on Thursday nights. Comes from a road racing background, but also does quite a bit of oval. And here he is, the Busch Light Apple, number 41. Good-looking car. He's dropped back a couple spots as well. He's high as they come out of turn number 2. They're 3 wide for a moment, but up front still battling for the race lead. Now the 20 car, Calusa, sucker hold up the middle.
Yeah, the 20 probably tried to make a move down to get by these guys, and it looks like none of them went with him, but it looks like the 44 is going to peek in with him. And we talk about Eric Mickey. He's one of those guys that runs in pretty much everything, in pretty much every Sim TV league. I think he's made a start in at least one of them in every league.
I think you're right about that,
yeah.
actually.
But he's one of those guys that are really versatile with their driving. Raced in many leagues, such as majors, where they run pretty much every car, and he's a contender in every single car. So I'm not surprised one bit to see him run here and run well.
Josiah Vincent's number 44, right to the tailpipes of the 20 of Calusa. And at the exit of turn number 2, you know what I like about this drafting package, Joe, is it makes people a little bit less desperate than they used to be. With the way the package used to be here at Daytona, you had to work so hard for every single inch of racetrack. It made people do stupid things because they knew that was their one and only shot. Here, well, we're just playing around until lap number 98, so you've got plenty of patience right now because you feel like you can move forward with a little bit of help. That didn't used to be the case, and I think that's actually contributed to less accidents overall at this kind of racing here. We go road racing next week, so we go from the high banks of Daytona to the National Park of Speed in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin at Road America. So we have a very interesting start to the season, and from going here to a road course, I think we're going to see a very diverse skill set put on display the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and this package, talking about that, it used to be really single file, and everyone was super desperate to get track position because they know if they don't take that hole, you're going to go probably from 15th to maybe 32nd. So now that this package allows for double file racing and the ability to make a charge at the front, I'm not surprised at all to see these guys be more in control of the cars and less cautions overall.
There's Thomas Harmon in the number 68 Chevrolet. This is another new driver to the series. Jaron Sanchez as well, the number 5. There he is in another great-looking Ford Mustang. I think that's the Output number 5. That's a great-looking car as well. Love the purple and yellow combination. That's always hot. Matt Wagner's back again in the number 18 car. Zach Floyd, another new name. He's a Dash for Cash driver tonight as well with the big red livery. This is an old Juan Pablo Montoya scheme. That's a throwback back to 2007 to 2009. Love that. And Floyd started 36th up to 31st, taking his time here tonight. No rush so far.
And one of the cars that I've seen on the running order so far is, I think it was the 10 of Caleb Weekly. I think he's on his own right now, or at the really back of this pack. No, he's on his own, but he was at the back of the pack. But I think he saw a little bit of a distance between them, about a second or two. He pulled it back in, but I would be concerned if I was him. Try to make a little bit of a push up forward because you never know when one little layback is going to cause you to lose the draft.
Another great-looking car, the 11 of Brian Stewart, another new name to this series. I love the look of those low rear super speedway bumpers as well. Great-looking kind of classic livery. I was surprised he didn't save that one for Darlington. Curious what he'll have for throwback night later this season. Up at the front, though, we're still double wide. Everyone else is sort of single filed out, clicking off laps. And at the front, we're being pretty cautious here. I don't see a lot of pushing and shoving, but they still are double files. So they haven't quite settled in.
Yeah, you can see Josiah Vincent back off that 20 going in the corners. I'm not sure if that's engine temperatures or just the fear of hooking him, but he's going to be a little bit conservative here and not be all aggressive on that 20s bumper, but he's certainly helping keep pace with that 33 and 77 on the inside.
The 21 of Eddie Trejo, he bailed from the outside to the inside lane, so I think he's ready to get in for the long run here. 13 laps, and we thought we'd see some early pit stops. No takers yet. I think with green flag conditions, we could expect people to run the tanks out of fuel, or at least run to a point where they can split the race into equal segments. But I am curious to see later in the race if the strategies will split. Keep an eye on Clifton Cockrell as well. New livery on this car for the number 16. Microsoft on that car. And as you know, usually I'm not really a Microsoft fan myself, but after the new flight simulator, it's pretty hard to be mad at them for anything.
Yeah, I believe that paint was made by Noah Sweet, one of the really great painters on the iRacing service, and that is one of the really beautiful paint on that number 16. So he's going to slot himself in line behind Eric Mickey, or it doesn't look like it. He's going to try to keep making that outside line work. Zach Carr, he was your outside pole sitter, and he's fallen back to 9th. He's going to try to be a little bit, conservative with this car, try to save a little bit of fuel here and there. You can tell from that huge gap he's leaving to that 7 car.
I'm a little bit bit surprised we're seeing Carr lay back here in the bottom half of the top 10. I think in the past, last year included, we would see some more aggression out of him. I'm not really sure why he's calmed down, but everyone really has. They've gotten single file. Let's also keep an eye on Connor Horn, 16th to 12th in the number 3 Goodwrench car. And this is a notable driver because he's the reigning champion in the Outsider Racing League. He is one to watch at every racetrack we go to this season. But I will say the plate tracks are probably a weak point, Liam, because you don't control your own destiny here.
Yeah, all you can do is just be as aggressive as you can and hope it sticks and try to keep yourself ahead of the big one. That will, probably happen with this really strong field of drivers. I'm not too sure if it'll happen here, but there's some leagues where it'd be a definite thing. But Connor Horn, he's one of the most aggressive drivers on the iRacing service, and every single move he pulls almost always pays off. So I'm not surprised, or I'm kind of surprised that he's not, being up in the top 10, but outside the top 10, that's probably a good place for him to be. And Connor Horn, he's going to be 12th right now. Jonathan Hernandez fell back from the pole all the way to 13th, so he's going to chill behind that number 3 in that very similar slanted car to Connor Horn. Maybe they're working together here a little bit here. Not too sure on that, but he's going to try to hang with this number 3 car.
Something that you mentioned that is sort of interesting is you talked about the big one, and what we typically see is we got this really highly skilled field here tonight. And what we typically see with these high skilled fields is that they will not crash. Then you get them to the last 5 laps of the race, and because there's so many cars left, when there is a crash, it is enormous. Typically you'll have, 2 or 3 smaller wrecks throughout the race, and maybe one that's, 10 or 12 cars. This is the kind of field that we're going to get where we're going to have a 25 car crash on the last lap of the race. It's just the way things work out here with a field that's this skilled. You just run out of space at the end of the race. So sometimes it's good to have a few smaller wrecks throughout the race just to break the field up and kind of take some cars out, just so that there's not everyone on top of each other at the end. Watching in the background, I see Andrew Telganoff coming forward with help from Casey Lakatos in the number 50 Sim TV car.
Yeah, the number 15 of Alex Bell did not link up with that 50 and 54, so they're gonna. Looks like he's gonna chill back there and let these two make their push to the front to represent Sim TV. But Casey Lakatos is gonna work with his good buddy Andrew Telganoff and try to get a push up going to the front. And it looks like they're making some ground here. And
they
maybe
picked
some
up 2 other
people
cars. That's Eric Hutton in behind, as well as the 48 of Jeff Wright. Jeff Wright, last season, I can't say that he had a good one. I mean, he had an okay season by other people's standards, but by Jeff Wright's standards, he was not winning races nearly as often as we would have expected based on previous results. So maybe this is a rebound time for him to get a little bit better luck as the inside lane, a big check up there on the front stretch, and that's going to let that outside run carry those cars forward and closer to the top spot.
Yeah, any momentum he can gain is really great momentum in that Lowe's 48 Chevy, so he's going to try to get his way up to the front and possibly snag a win here and get some momentum going in the Road America. But 18 laps down in the books, Adam Cabot leads the race.
Yeah, you mentioned Road America for the 48. That's definitely an opportunity for him to win. The 21 of A. Trejo goes to the middle group to block the 6th, and Andrew Telganoff says, no thank you. It looks like Lakatos is going to join the 6 car on the high side of the racetrack, so Trejo too late. I think that move was a bit too aggressive for the drivers behind him, and they said, nope, we're not going to let you do that. And they're going to sucker hole him in the middle. Now Eric Hutton bails to the middle of the racetrack, leaving Lakatos and Telganoff all by themselves, 3 wide for about 5th spot.
Yeah, usually you need that 21 car to stall a little bit more than these guys anticipate, but since he went middle, he actually slowed down those 2 cars on the outside and they bailed on him. So that's probably something that they marked down about that 21 car, is maybe this guy will be throwing an aggressive block. Maybe I shouldn't work with him, as it looks like that's actually happening right here. The 88 and 48 are going to try to go outside of him and get past him.
And it's Eric Hutton squeezing around the outside, and now the 21 dead even with the 48 on the outside of the 20 on the inside. Where did the 6 car slot in? He's back at 11th right behind this. He and Lakatos got separated, but Adam Cabot, a commanding lead right now, with Travato tucked in line, and these two, I think, are going to be playing nice with each other, at least for now, as we hit lap number 20.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that 33 slide out if that 08 can get that momentum rolling, but I'm actually surprised that the outside line isn't working as well. It looks like the 24 snagged the wall there, but inside line, or the middle line, is working really well with these two. They're making ground on the inside and outside line. Looks like the 48's going to bail on that, not sure what car that was, yeah, I can't really tell. But it looks like the 48's going to bail on those cars, and they're going to try to get up together and try to catch that 6 and 21. But they're going to make a huge push for the lead here, up to 3rd, trying to get up to 2nd. Looks like a move for the lead isn't going to happen, but those two are tandeming together, trying to keep those two behind them and waiting until the run stalls out.
Adam Cabot leads the way, but now he sees the Amazon number 21 coming with a head of steam. Will he try to defend? Will he leave the inside lane? For now, he stays in front of the 33 as they head off into turn 1, and he's going to stay solid on the bottom. Now, the 6 of Telganov going to push the 21 up to the rear tailpipes of the 77. They're going to go for the lead as they come out of turn number 2. It's going to be a drag race down the Daytona super stretch.
Yeah, I think that 77 is thinking that 6 can only push that 21 for so long before he has to bail and find some clean air. So he's going to try to get that 21 clear, but it looks like that temperature problem is starting to show here with that 6 moving up a little high in the corners. Really great spot to do it, but 1, 2, 3 wide, that can't really work. But the 21's going to try to get the momentum off the corner, try to steal the lap lead. We're going to see what happens here. Can the 77 keep it? Looks like the 21 of Eddie Trejo is going to take the lead.
So Trejo got that lap led, and you talked about the cooling on these cars. Yeah, we'll get a look here at the end of this lap, and we'll show you the opening. Very, very small, and they line up the way that these bumpers line up. You pretty much got the air of the car behind you sealed up on the rear bumper, so it's very difficult to get air in these cars while you're pushing. That's by design to keep these cars from hooking together in tandem, drafting around the entire lap. And in a moment, we'll take a look at that. But the 08 of Eric Hutton, third in line on the outside. He drifts up a little bit wide. As we come out of turn number 4, this will be a good opportunity to see the damage on the front of the 77, but how small is this intake? Basically, it's just that, and it lines up perfectly with the rear bumper of the car in front, blocking that off entirely.
Yeah, with this new package here, these cars are restricted by downforce and not by engine power, so these cars are a lot more bundled up together than they were years past with bubbles of air, and now that doesn't exist anymore due to being restricted by downforce. It punches a huge bubble in the air and causes cars to suck up to each other and less air to get in on that nose with those bumper extensions.
Yeah, you also mentioned that the way that the cars are regulated, it used to be with a restrictor plate. It used to basically choke the engine down to a certain horsepower level. Well, no longer. Basically, how they're regulated is with that massive spoiler that you mentioned that you can see on the back deck lid of the car. Now, why that's important is because these cars now, without the engine being choked, their throttle response is so much better. So when you used to brake the throttle, it took the car forever to get wound back up to full speed, full song. Now it's no different than any normal speedway. The acceleration that you get after slowing up is so much more significant, and that makes these runs huge. There's a car blending back into traffic. That is the 18 of Matt Wagner. He and Sam Devontier have come into pit lane. I don't think they came together. They're about 8 seconds apart, but that could be part of that strategy that you're talking about earlier.
Yeah, strange time to do it though. 24 laps into this race is a little late to make that work, especially with only 2 cars. So that's really strange to see them come in that late into the run, especially with pit stops probably 15 so laps out. But yeah, with that, these cars have only 50 less horsepower than they do at 1.5 milers and 2 miler tracks. So these cars have a lot more throttle response with those tapered spacers compared to those restrictor plates, and that could cause for some restart wrecks, especially with those on older tires.
Looking at Yusuf Ghali, he's actually found teammate Alex Bell. They're new this season, new teammates, the 15 coming from SWA Racing. Now he's got the SimTV colors and the Toyota badge on the nose of that car. But he's tucked in behind Yusuf Ghali. They have lost Casey Licata, so because he's all the way up in 8th place as the 21 and 6 pop out of line again. And I can tell you what, Andrew Telganov is not sitting in line tonight. He's going for the race lead.
Yeah, Andrew Telganov. It's not really surprising to see him be this aggressive to try to snag this lead away, but he's trying his best to get that 21 clear so he can get a friend behind him to work with him and push him to the lead so he can keep that and try to be as aggressive as he can to block both lines and block all the momentum so he can try to lead as many laps as possible. I'm not sure if there's a lap led or most laps led bonus point, but that would be crucial for him to have, especially with when we head into the close to the playoff range. But that 50 is making a really aggressive pushes on that 6. Pushing the pushers not really recommended at these plate tracks, but he's going to clear that 21. I bet Andrew's not really happy with that 21 not jumping down while he was clear, but that 77 made a huge run going into the corner. He's going to snag the lead away and clear that 21 by a whole car length.
Yeah, that got really dicey there for just a moment with the 50 sort of pushing the 6, as you mentioned, pushing the pusher. I think that was a term that Matt Malone came up with on his stream that has been sort of synonymous with a lot of accidents that we've seen at plate racing tracks since then. It's sort of the problem that you have is that if you're the third car in line, we're riding on board with Casey Lacoste, you can't see past the sixth car of Andrew Telganoff, so you're pushing blindly. Now the 6 has to regulate his speed not to drill the back of the 21 and cause a wreck, so it's very difficult to modulate that speed, but Casey did a good job pushing on the straight and backing off before the corner. But it's not a perfect science. It's very easy to make a mistake there, as this front group of 5 or 6 has been racing pretty hard, but Telganoff drops in line in third.
Yeah, it's really hard to gauge, especially when you're pushing a car that is, being pushed by another car. It's really difficult to gauge, where that car is running. But you see pit stops happening. Whoa! The 9 of Brian Chambliss makes a huge slide going into his stall. Doesn't even look like that was his stall, so he's going to go to his stall. And that's going to be a huge time penalty on pit road. It's going to be interesting to see where he shakes out of the pack. I'm not sure where he was running prior to the pit stop. But he may lose a draft out of this. Here he comes in. Looks like a little bit of a...
Oh, was there a touch maybe from the back of Connor Horn? Here's another look at the replay here as they came out of turn number 4, coming off the racetrack. I wonder, did they have contact? No, I think he just got in there really hot.
Yeah, it looks like he saw the...
hot. Oh, that's definitely a speeding penalty for sure. If that wasn't, I'm amazed. And it doesn't look like he got one. Either that or he's going to serve it later, because he was only spent 14 seconds in pit lanes. That was very lucky.
But look at all that time he had on that 3. He was in front of him, and then he dropped like 4 or 5 seconds back. Look how far he is from that 3. And there's the pack. They are wasting no time, and they're going to try to stay as fast as they can in front of those guys so they can try to pull a little bit of a gap after pit stops come in with this huge pack coming on pit road. But we talked about that 9 coming in really quickly. It looks like he saw that 3, how late he was braking, so he probably saw that as a opportunity to try to stay in front of the 3, so he tried to wait on his brakes a little bit, and it was much to his looks like a little incident back there. Ooh, contact between those cars coming on a pit road. The 77, a little careful going on in there, but that's going to be the big pack that comes in and maybe the leaders.
Well, it's really busy down there on pit lane now as the field comes on down. The 24 and the 08 almost have a contact. Oh, they're in the fence. The 08 of Eric Hutton has gotten in the fence in the pit lane, and a big mistake there, and he's going to have to correct it. That's going to cost him a ton of time. I don't think he's in the box yet at all. This is going to be disastrous for Eric Hutton. Under green flag conditions, to have a mistake like this is disastrous to his plans to win this race tonight, unless we get some caution soon.
Yeah, the 24 also with an issue there. He also missed a stall by probably a huge margin there, but that's the thing with these stops here is the 08 has to make sure he's in at the right angle. He could be in a stall, but he has to be in at just the right angle so he can get service on his car. That's something that's done in NASCAR, and that's something that's done here, except it's really strict, and you usually have to pull out of your stall and pull back in, and he's already fallen down a lap.
Andrew Telganoff in a pit lane. Casey Lacoste has followed him too. There's a huge, massive cars leaving the box, I think led by the 15 of Alex Bell. I'd love to get a camera shot of that. There's just too many positions moving around right now to catch it all as they come off of pit lane. A significant portion of cars have already made their stops, so I think there's only a handful that have yet to do it, and the ones that have yet to do it are doing it right now. So a lot of confusion on the racetrack. David Mott Jr., did he just spin coming out of pit lane? He's got some damage on that car.
Not too sure. Looks like maybe a little bit of a contact with his the inside of his pit stall. Yeah, that looks probably what happened here. He's going to pull into his pit stall. I believe this is
leaving pit lane. Yeah. And I wonder, did he already have this damage? I thought I saw him. Oh, he just almost hit the grass there. No dramas. I thought he had looped it on the pit exit.
But I do see a little bit of damage on that left front. Maybe he snagged that pit road wall or made some contact with someone earlier in the race, but no problems there. He's going to get himself back on the track, and he's going to keep going as the leader. So really great stop to that port. Actually, no.
He's on the apron.
Yeah, it looks like maybe he forgot to stop in his stall, or maybe he missed a stall or something. So really big moment for that 4 there.
Oh, he's out of fuel. Didn't stop, but he's out of fuel, so that was a big mistake for David Mott Jr. Must have slipped into the pit box, come back around, and ran out of fuel in the process. So now we know 30 laps is as far as they can go. Meanwhile, for the race lead, Andrew Telganoff leads. Here comes Cabot, Stramato, and Turner to go right around the outside, though.
Yeah, what if these 3 are working together? I'm not really sure on what the whole team situation is here, but these 3 are pretty committed to each other, and that 6 is going to lose the lead away from that 77, who's been pretty much controlling the race the entire time. But that 6 and 50 are going to work together and try to get back by these guys. They're snug up together on each other, and they're going to probably try to take these guys on the outside while they're not grouped up. As you can see, there's a little bit of a string between these 3 cars. Maybe that 46 will pull up on that 6 to try to get that lead away, or try to get the lead from the outside line.
Yeah, so everybody's single filed out now as we kind of recover from our pit stop sequence. I'm noting that Yusuf Ghali picked up a little bit in the pit stop sequence. He's all the way up to 12th now. Casey Lakatos is up to 5th, so he, with that aggressive entry, we thought that he and the 6 had, or I think it was him and one other driver had blown the pit entry. No, he actually got it down to pit road speed just fine. Just looked a little bit scary. So Cabot leads the way, and the 77 so far has been sort of the class of the field, has led 25 of the 33 laps that we've completed, and now we're just sort of into the long run here, Liam, where you pretty much just get settled in, run single file until you feel the need to move forward.
One thing I'm kind of surprised about actually is why they're not running double file, because with this package change on iRacing at least, it is actually quicker to run double file, and you can pull a whole second on cars that are running single file, but with these checkups that are being caused by this inside line, as you can see it there, everyone's kind of snaking out a little bit. They're checking up, and there goes the 88 to the outside of that 48 to try to get some spots on them. But with this package, it's actually slower to go single file, so it's not like real life where you have to be single file and run against the wall, but these guys are going to try to make it work going double file here with the 88 being pushed by that aggressive 3 car.
So Connor Horn working with Skylar Shackelford, who was immediately impressive in the first race that he ran last season. I think it was at a 1.5-mile track. I think it was Kansas that it was his first race. They're getting by the 12 car. That's Matt Burgess in the number 12 Haviline car. He's going to go a lap down. The only other driver a lap down is David Mott Jr., who's 2 down. Everyone else is on the lead lap as it stands, with Sam Devontier and Eric Hutton the next closest. Now, Eric Hutton is way behind the field, 24 seconds to be exact, and this is all because of that pit stop mishap. But he's got no draft here, Liam, so only a matter of time before he goes a lap down.
Yeah, he's got to be hoping that they wreck here, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen with how strong or with how organized everybody is. Single file, maybe something might happen from a checkup here, but they're going to go double file up here. Looks like that number, I'm not sure who that is, the 33 pulled out on the 77. He's going to try to get these two controlling the race and maybe check him up a little bit. That is a viable strategy on plate tracks, but it may irritate the guys behind you. But kind of surprised to see that 33 not making as much ground on that 77 is, especially with how weak that inside line is looking right now.
Andrew Telgenoff is the Mustang breaking up the Camaro party at the front of the field as we pass the 1/3 mark of this race just a couple laps ago, working lap 36 of 100 now. And still, the 46 of Steve Turner, he's been quietly sitting inside this top 5. And you can see his Twitch name, Steve-O1126. I'll bet you he's streaming right now as he gives a big push to the back of the 77. Again, quietly hanging out inside the top 5 tonight. Maybe we should keep an eye on him to win this race.
Now, one thing these drivers may be keeping in their mind is fuel. And that is to save as much fuel as they can to try, because they're going to have to, as much fuel as they're burning right now, they're going to have to 3-stop it. So if they can get it down to just 1 stop from a 60 lap to from 60 laps to 90 laps, they're going to try to save at least 5 laps of fuel collectively between those 2 stops. So if they could save 5 laps right now and then 5 laps in their second run, they'd be good to the end on just 1 more pit stop.
Well, that's an interesting thing that you mentioned there, the fuel strategy. I think that's a great idea to plan on saving a little bit of fuel. That's assuming that the race goes all the way green to the end. And while that could happen, I think that's bold. I think we're going to get a caution probably with about 10 to 15 laps to go. So you know what? Maybe you just stick with it. Maybe you just run it out because you're expecting that caution flag to fly. That's also a risky strategy, though, so I'm not really sure what you do. I'm not sure that you can save that much fuel, though. It's going to be 4 or 5 laps over the course of this race. I'm not sure that that's a possibility. Casey Lakatos is going to jump out to driver's right with a push from Eddie Trejo for the race lead.
Yeah, the 50's been aggressive all the race. Oh, wow, the 21 with a big bobble there, almost an incident there, but the 50's going to snag the lead away from that 77 who's been controlling the race the entire time. That 21's probably sick of pushing people to the front. He wants to lead, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that 21 snag the lead here from the 50 car, but the 50 of Casey Lakatos, another guy that's been really great on play tracks across SimTV. He will steal the lead away here from that 21 and 77, but the 21 is going to try to get a shot from that 46 to try to steal the lead away here from the 50 of Casey Lakatos. Doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Nose to tail, 77 and 50 and 46 21, pushing hard at a turn number 4. We're approaching 10 laps to halfway as they come across the start-finish line. And this race has been flying so far. Not a single caution with 39 drivers in this race. Not a single car off track yet. A great record. I'm just not sure it's going to stand for the whole race. The 33 Estravato got shuffled out a couple moments ago. He's back up into 7th, though, and ready to party again.
Yeah, that 33 is probably not content with running 7th. He probably wants to get up there and challenge for the lead like he has been all race, just being the pusher to that 77 car. He tried to make a move on that 77 to try to make a move up for the lead. Everyone else just didn't work with him. But that 21, he's going to try to get that side draft off that 77 and 50, which does it work, does it not work on iRacing? It kind of does, because you kind of get that draft from the front of the car off the side of the cars, and you kind of blend in together. But that 21 is going to push that 77 past the 50. Huge shot by that 21, so everyone's making note of that 21 with how great of a pusher he is. He's not going to, oh, the 77 is going to drop in front of him. I thought he was going to keep up there with the 21.
Cabot leads the way, drops in front of the 50. He had pulled up in front of the 21 sort of last minute. I'm not sure if the 21 really meant to do that as a helpful hint. I think it was more of a, hey, what are you doing? And give it an aggressive shove to maybe let him know he didn't appreciate it. I'm not sure, but it was a big enough hit to worry me, as now the 21 goes for the race lead again. And you mentioned it. He's a good pusher. He's also receiving pushes well. So Eddie Trejo is showing up to party tonight. He is not lingering, as we have 10 laps to halfway at lap number 40 complete here from Daytona.
Yeah, and this is pretty much what you got to do. I believe he is an independent driver, so this is what you have to do as an independent to know, hey guys, I can take pushes and I can give pushes. I can be steady and stable. Just give me the push and we can make something happen up to the front. But you see that second pack back there? They are in a really bad spot with this draft here. I mean, that's probably about a 5 or 6 second gap. Yeah, it looks like 5 seconds back to the leader. So Bailey Turner leading this pack here, and I'm not gonna be surprised at all to see if they maybe lose even more time. That's only 6 cars, so that's really, or 6 or 7 cars, so that's really interesting to see. Just a group of mishaps on pit road cycle out back here, about 6 seconds back from that pack.
Watching Zach Halpert and Tim Downey Jr. Tim Downey Jr. was a reigning champion not too many seasons ago, but last season disastrous for this Downey Enterprises team. The 25 and 26 just could not find any success, and they run 26th and 27th right now. Up in front, Casey Lakatos edges ahead for a moment. We're going to go Sim TV Sound Surge. Hang tight. Cabot leading us down into turn number 1. Jeff Wright in second place. AJ Stravado in third, and it was wild for a moment there, Liam, but now they're sorted out with Andrew Telganoff slotting into 4th and Lakatos back to 6th.
Yeah, looks like everyone's giving up on this double file nonsense, so everyone's going to try to get in line here. That 6 is going to jump out in front of the 50, though, and try to get something going.
And there's the 99, who is Sam Devontier in 36th place. He's a lap down. He is fighting for the free pass, though, with Matt Burgess, who's in the 12, a couple spots back. So there is a battle for the free pass position, and we haven't seen a caution yet. But let's keep our eyes out for, I would say, brewing impatience as the race ticks on here at lap 44.
Yeah, you can see that 2150 trying to make something happen up there. The 6th of Andrew Telganoff has been just jumping in line, out of line, and he's going to try to get the lead away, but he's starting to get a little impatient with these guys not being able to snag in front and stay up there.
At the exit of turn 2, now the run down the backstretch. Connor Horn is broken inside the top 10. How about a name we haven't mentioned in a while? Angelo Ronis in the 29 car, the Adidas Ford Mustang. I haven't mentioned this name, I feel like, in months here on Sim TV, but he's back and running in 10th after starting at the tail of the field. Adam Cabot to the race lead again with Telganoff coming up the outside.
Yeah, that 6 is getting a huge shove from that 50, so Casey Lakatos giving really aggressive shoves throughout this race. But the 48 of Jeff Wright, he's cycled all the way up to 4th and 2nd on this inside line.
Yeah, Jeff Wright, we talked about him a little bit earlier tonight, the bad luck that he had last season, but he's back in it now, inside of 5th place. Put him up to 4th now as we got a side-by-side battle for the race lead. And what is so concerning about this here, Liam, is that we've got 3 or 4 or 5 cars side-by-side, and everyone else is single file behind him and gaining ground very quickly.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that only 3 cars are making something happen up there. Usually you don't see that with these Cup cars, but you see a lot of cars. Yeah, those 2 are strung out. That's the 4. He's going to go down a 3rd lap, so that's not what he wants in his believe, in his debut here in this league. So that 4, and I'm not sure who else that is, the 08 or the 88 of Eric Hutton.
I should clarify this. It's the 08 on the car, the 88 on the timing and scoring for a timing reason here tonight, but it is the 08 of Eric Hutton. He has found the 4 car tonight that is being driven by David Mott Jr. They're line to stern right now working together to try to avoid getting lapped. Russell Arnold is the next driver up the road. He's another new driver in this series. Beautiful Crown Royal livery. That's one of my favorites from the mid-2000s. Without any help, though, so he's also on the chopping block to go a lap down as we got the field charging, and this is where I get nervous, Liam. With field double wide and lapping cars, this is going to get tight.
Yeah, you can see some cars starting to bunch up here, and you see that that 99 car, people are not happy with them being up there because he's a lap car. People think he's just wasting space up there, but he has his own race. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if he tries to make a move up there for the lead, or at least take the lead spot in this track, if people will not work with him.
Yeah, might be a little bit inconvenient for the lead lap drivers, but he's perfectly within his rights to battle for position with these drivers because he's trying to keep the 12 car behind him as we head off into turn 1. Adam Cabot, the closing rate here, about 10 to 15 miles an hour with those cars up ahead, so it's going to get very dicey. If they're lucky, they'll catch him on the straightaway. If they're unlucky, the rest of the field will catch him in the tri-oval, which seems to be the trickiest spot to catch lap cars here at Daytona. The 4 and 08 move to the right. I think they've accepted their fate here.
Yeah, they're going to move up to the high side. Sometimes people stay in the inside line because they get absorbed into the pack. So the 4 is actually going to back off really quickly.
He's in the fence, actually, and trying not to pull the car off the wall and into the field. He did a good job there as the 08 now goes a lap down. Here comes Shackelford to the outside lane. He wants to lead a lap, and he will do so at the line, lap number 48.
Yeah, Connor Horn's giving a huge aggressive shove to that number 88 car, the actual 88, and 3 is going to try to shove him in front, but it's not going to happen with just 2 cars.
And the 88 of Shackelford, we talked about him briefly, how impressive he was at the start of when he jumped in the series. Then after that, didn't find a lot of luck. So looking to improve on that this year as we see the field go by the 34 of Russell Arnold, struggling a little bit here. Just sort of lost the draft. I don't see any damage on that car, but not going his way tonight. As we approach the halfway point, I think the intensity is going to start picking up. And you see this now here, Liam, double file the top 12 cars.
And one car that's been making his way up to the front that we haven't talked about much tonight is the 30 of Jeremy Miller. He's really aggressive on the plate tracks, but he always seems to get it done.
And hard to spot. New livery on this car this year. Has run Valvoline stuff in the past. So the Ocean Cleanup Project on that car. Cool cause that he's got on there, and a new color scheme on the Eco Coast number 30 Camaro. But as you mentioned, 8th up into 5th. And he's been quiet all night tonight, but now he's ready to party as we approach halfway.
Yeah, he's going to give a shove to that 3 of Connor Horn. I believe they're teammates on, I'm not sure what teammate they're on, but I believe they're teammates, and that 30 is going to try to shove the 3 clear of the lead. And it looks like he's going to give the 3 the edge into the corner on the 88 of Shackelford, who actually did take the lead on that 77 car.
Big moment
shove
for the 88. That was really dicey as he got a push from the 77 mid-corner. He hung on to it, though. That spooked everybody in line as we come across the complete lap number 49. Next time by is halfway as Connor Horn noses ahead in the number 3.
Yeah, that's another classic thing on plate tracks is not to push in the corners. It's 2 unwritten rules in iRacing is to not push the pusher and not push in the corners. But the 88 is going to get a little bit more organized going into this corner. We're going to see if the 77 is going to give him a good shove off the corner. Looks like it's going to happen. The 88 back to the lead.
Now the shove down the backstretch. Speeds climbing over 202 miles an hour. 203 for Shackelford. 205 into turn number 3. Flying as they come to halfway for the Outsider Racing League race number 1 of the season. We run all the way to January, but right now the focus is on this lap. To lead at halfway at Daytona is to stake your claim. The 88 and 77 drag race in the line. Here they come. 77-88. Shackelford leads at halfway.
Yeah, that 77 made a huge aggressive move on the outside. The 3 checked up because he thought that was a little too aggressive on his end, but the 88 is going to get that point led for halfway, and the 77 doesn't look like he's going to take the lead away from that 88.
Brian Chambliss is stuck middle 3 wide for a moment. That was a bad place to be. Now he's going to get singled back out with the 99 squeezing ahead. The 1 car going to move to the outside as we got the 48 of Jeff Wright taking a shove from the 77. He will go to the top spot as they enter turn number 3. Not quite, though. Shackelford keeps the nose ahead.
Yeah, it seems like you need 3 or 4 cars to make the outside line work. Oh, a huge moment by the 88. He actually clipped the apron there. Huge moment there. Everybody checks up. They're going to pull down for pit stops on lap 51.
Here they come again, and this time I think it's going to be a little bit cleaner. Oh, Connor Horn's in way too fast, and that could be race over for him. That was almost certainly speeding as he came down to the pits. We'll see if he gets penalized for it as we go back to the front with Jeff Wright.
Yeah, that 88 actually pulled off, and I thought he was going to make a pit stop, but maybe he tricked some guys to come on the pit road. But he stayed, out of the pit window there, so looks like he's going to stay on and go for another lap here. But the 77 is going to go back up to the outside, try to challenge for the lead once again.
Seems early to pit, right? I mean, we could go to at least lap 58 or 59. I'm not exactly sure why you'd want to come in this early unless you're definitely planning on splitting up into 3 stops. That would be my guess. Connor Horn is back out on the racetrack now. He did not have to serve a penalty. I am shocked by that. I was certain that he was going to get one. Maybe he'll come in and serve a pass through there.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm not really understanding here is like why they're not going as long as they can, because that final stop they can just go in for maybe 7 or 8 seconds of fuel and then head back out there, and that's probably about 7 seconds on those guys that pit for 4 tires and fuel. They 41 of Eric Mickey with some back end damage.
Yeah, he's actually out of the race here. Apparently it was a bad bump draft that took his car out. We saw some clouds of smoke, but didn't trace it back to any particular car, but it was the 41 of Eric Mickey. Unfortunately, day over here at lap number 53. Adam Cabot into turn 3, got a push from Jonathan Hernandez, who remember was our pole sitter earlier tonight. He's back and ready to party inside the top 5. Great racing for the top spot.
Yeah, Jonathan Hernandez, I've raced him before, and he's really aggressive, and he's a really great pusher, but he's going to try to go to the outside of the 77. Not going to be quite enough to take this lap lead away from here, from the 77 of Adam Cabot, but he's going to try to get it here going into turn 1.
Side by side for the race lead. They continue to run this way. We've got about 34 minutes of racing remaining. If we stay green, we have not had a single caution flag yet this race. And like I said earlier, this worries me because this is going to be a big boom at the end if we have this many cars still left running. As Jaron Sanchez cracks the top 15. And again, this is another new name in this series and making a name for himself as he drafts up to the back of Josiah Vincent. Noticing on the right front, though, some right side damage, and that's not insignificant.
Yeah, that's not insignificant, and especially when you want to make those moves at the end of the race, that damage really hinders you with your ability to make moves and ability to lead. So it's going to be interesting to see what the 5 can do towards the end of this race, but that's definitely going to be hindering him.
Thomas Harmon also inside the top 15. Zach Floyd, another new name, cracking the top 20 at this point in the number 42 big red car. And a handful of drivers still have not come onto onto pit road for their second stop. That leads me to believe that the 88 did indeed fake those drivers out. That just seems like too early for me, Liam. But again, maybe they're committed to a 3-stop strategy.
Well, yeah, I mean, but I just don't understand why they went that early. 51 is really early for a second stop. It's only 20 laps on a tank, or 20 to 22 laps, so you can go 30, and it's just interesting to see him come in that early.
Jeff Wright in line now in second place. They're catching a group of lap cars up ahead. There's about 7 cars in that group. And looking, I believe that, trying to see who's involved with this group. And I don't exactly have, oh, here it is. Joshua Banks is in the 36. I think there's also Zach Carr, Brian Chambliss, and more, including Connor Horn, Jeremy Miller in this. This is the group that pit a little while ago. And Skylar Shackelford hits pit lane. He's all by himself, though. I'm not sure about that strategy.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why they're going to be on pit road for by themselves. That's almost certainly losing a lap there. So these guys are going to go to the outside of this pack here, may be able to absorb with them this pack right here. So kind of surprised by this, but maybe they'll pick up the pace. Connor Horn's up there. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he tries to move up on that 77 to try to keep him behind him. Not going to happen.
Yeah, I think that the speed differential is just too large there. So the 77 and 48 continue to draft together at the front of the field. It's been a mostly Chevrolet-dominated day, and mostly Adam Cabot and AJ Stravato that have been at the front of the field. And you could add a few more drivers in that, including the 27 car before he dropped backwards throughout the rest of the field. Whoa, 77 and 48 chase each other at the bottom of the racetrack. In comes the 33 right in front of Connor Horn, who will get in that lead draft. That is very important for when we cycle things back out.
Yeah, that was a well-organized move to the bottom of the racetrack, but these two are going to stay up front and control the race. The 77 of Adam Cabot and the 48 of Jeff Wright, 1-2.
So we're approaching very quickly the last 40 laps of this race. Once we get to 30 to go, that's when I feel like this race is getting near to over. That's when everyone, you look down, you see lap 70 of 100, and that's when the heart rate ticks up and the adrenaline starts pumping, and you start to plan out your attack. So we talked about the package earlier and how you can make those runs towards the end. In the past, I'd say 10 to go is a good time to go. Is that too early now?
It just kind of depends. I mean, you need enough time to make the moves happen and make the 3-wide stuff happen, but, I would say 7.5 to go is probably when you need to go. You see the 77, 48, and 33 pull down the pit road. I believe they're working together here with the strategy.
Oh, Eddie Trejo's in really hot, going to shoot the gap up the middle. Nicely done. Gained a lot of time on that sequence, and will slot himself in right between those cars before hitting the pits. But he overshot the box and gave it all up right there, so that was a mistake for sure. Back up front, though, Steve Turner leads the way with Hernandez second, and Yusuf Ghali a couple spots back in third, and he's got Casey Licata, his teammate, tucked in, and Alex Bell not too far behind.
Yeah, it's kind of pretty funny to see all those lap cars in between second and third place. So see the 436, those guys are going to try to keep their spots here and try to go up for the free pass. But the 50 of Casey Licata in fourth, and the 54 of Yusuf Ghali being up here is not surprising to see. But the 46 is going to peel on the pit road. He's going to lead some cars down on here with him. The 44. Yeah, I believe that's 20.
Yep.
And the 16 and 34.
Yeah, it's Calusa, Cockrell, and the 34 of Russell Arnold. They have also come down to pit lane. So Jonathan Hernandez leads the race now, and Yusuf Ghali, Lakatos, and Bell are all synced up. And I think we'll see the Sim Motorsports cars hit pit lane this time through now that they're all together, as we're going to be coming to 40 laps to go. And this is just a cluster at the front now. It's just sort of mixed lead and lap traffic. And that's going to cost these lead lap cars a lot of time. And it's going to help the lap down cars because they're losing time. So I would expect the Sim Motorsports cars, the Toyotas, to hit pit lane. Here they come.
Ooh, 50 try to commit down there. Oh, a little late there, maybe. Oh, he's going to smoke up the tires. He's going to get it slowed down just in time. Great move by that 50. Little late, but he made it work.
Yeah, nicely done. And they're going to have a little bit of a problem with the 11 car coming out of pit road, but they're going to get that synced in, and the 50 and 25 got real lucky there, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, the 25 must have had a tire in the pit stalls, so really lucky there. I thought that was going to be for sure contact with the 11, though. Really heads up driving by him to back off there.
48, Jeff Wright, he's in front of the 77. This should be the group that cycles out, I believe. So we'll see who will end up with the race lead here as we get under 40 laps to go. Wright, Cabot, Stravato, and Andrew Telganoff, who's been the dark horse kind of all by himself tonight. He's been working with anybody and everybody, and I would expect him to be inside the top 5 or top 10 when we get down to the last 10 laps or so.
Yeah, Jonathan Hernandez showing that being an independent is really bad on these plate tracks. As he was the leader all by himself. Everyone was pitting behind him. I believe he's third. He's going to think about making
Oh, crash out of the exit of turn 2. Big one.
Here.
Cars around. Sideways. Caution flag is out right in front of the pack, and another car gets tagged in it. And that's the one car, our pole sitter, Jonathan Hernandez. Got a pretty big piece of it. There was a few more I saw involved, and included the 77 of Adam Cabot.
Oh, man, you hate to see that. That's not where I expected the wreck to happen, especially coming off pit road. Looks like someone got loose coming off there. Not sure who it was, but they got loose coming off the corner and just went up into the pack, and around they went. But huge moment here. Looks like, looks like someone spun around. Jonathan Hernandez must have clipped the apron or something, got loose and spun it around, and big incident there.
And right here, I think he's going to get clipped. I think that was the Skylar Shackelford car just gets clipped. Let's go back a little farther here and see if we can find where it started. And does he clip the 8? Oh, it's actually the 5 car in front of Hernandez, and he gets hit from behind. I believe that's the 12 car. And then, someone else got clipped there as well. Was that, who was that? The blue and white car that spun to the inside?
I believe that was one of the Sim Motorsports cars. Alex Bell, maybe?
It might have been the 11 of Bryant Stewart. Nope, they were on the opposite side of the racetrack, I think. Huh. Maybe it was out. And Alex Bell did get a pretty big piece of it as well. Not a really great angle to look at this from, as there was so much going on at the time.
Yeah, and there was a second wreck when everyone got by him. Looks like the whole incident there. Yeah, the 77 must have came down into one of those cars coming off pit lane. It looks like they avoided it, but let's watch with Adam Cabot here. You see all these cars coming off pit road. You see the 5 sideways check up. One gets spun around, and looks like an incident here. The 77 avoids, gets loose. Oh my goodness!
And the 15 car got kind of double whammied, and that was the 42 car. Floyd, I believe, we're looking for. I'm looking for him in the order to try to find where he was running.
I believe he was
6th.
Yeah, he was in that top 10 here, but it looks like he tried to make an aggressive move to try to miss it. Oh no, he was coming off pit road.
He was behind the 68, which is that blue and white car I saw earlier. And so they're going to jut up onto the racetrack right here to miss it. They actually blinked out and squeezed by, and it looks like Stravato might have gotten a piece of it. What a mess that was at the exit of 2.
Yeah, he That was strange. We can't really tell what happened there since he kind of blinked out of existence there for a brief second, but it looks like he came up to try to miss the wreck, and there was the pack. And,
wow.
Man.
And then that second pack did a great job, actually. We only really had one car contact with that second pack coming in ahead of steam, but that was a weird way to get our first caution of the night. But now, with our first caution, it cycles out Yusuf Ghali to the top spot. And I think all the pit stops were done at that point, but it's going to mix up the order significantly and put Ghali, Bryce Calusa, and Clifton Cockrell up front.
Yeah, it's going to be I think a 45-lap run to the end here. I expect everyone to come down in pit road to try to top off, to try to make sure they can make it to the end. I believe if you save just enough in the entire run, I believe you can make 44 laps, 45-ish. It'll be really close to see what these guys can do here. But a one stop is definitely in the cards here. Or no, a no stop.
I wanted to talk to Jeff Wright here for just a moment, so let's see if we can get a hold of him. Hey, Jeff Wright, it's Kyle from the SimTV booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Kyle, gotcha.
Well, I hope we're not interrupting you too much. That was kind of wild, man. It's been a wild race so far. You started the race back in 19th. You've been running up towards the front for a while. And then that mess out of turn 2. What'd you see, and what's the plan for the next 35 laps or so?
Yeah, it made my heart skip a beat for sure, seeing that, seeing those cars coming off pit lane there. I think, honestly, one of them ghosted, and we got through them. Otherwise, I think we'd be jumped. So we're really fortunate to even be in this spot right now. But we've been really working well with our team. Adam, AJ, Eric, we've kind of been on point all night, sticking together, trying to lead this thing, because we know that the big one's probably going to happen a little bit behind the leaders. So the goal is just to stay up front. Hopefully we can finish this thing out and start the year off right.
All right, Jeff, good luck to you, and we'll see you later.
Thanks.
All right, so Jeff Wright running fourth right now. Yusuf Ghali, Calusa, Cockrell, Wright, and Miller, the top 5. That notably split up the SimTV cars a little bit. Casey Lakatos all the way back. He's hit pit lane again, as did Alex Bell. And you see there's Adam Cabot getting repairs done. Alex Bell, there is some damage, but that car, for the most part, is in one piece. Given the hit that he took on the right side, not too shabby, I would say. So he'll get to walk away with minimal damage. Zach Floyd in the 42, he's back on track with a bit more severe damage, but it still looks raceable. And one thing I've learned, Liam, is that these cars can take a pretty sizable hit before they become useless at a super speedway now.
Well, yeah, you could stay in the pack here, but what I'm kind of concerned about for those guys that were, sideswiped there with the right side, if they're going to be able to even stay up there in the contention. I mean, I think they could stay in the draft if they get lucky enough to get some pushers behind them. But if you get some damage on the right side and you're at the back of the pack, there's a good chance that you'll lose the draft.
So we'll be coming to the restart with 36 laps to go at the front of the field. We already mentioned Yusuf Ghali in the Grid Life 54. The Wist 20 of Bryce Calusa is on the outside of the front row here coming to the restart. Then Cockrell, Wright, Stravato, Miller, Horn, Shackelford, Chambliss, and Carr, the rest of your top 10. Lights are extinguished atop the Ford Mustang pace car, and we're about to turn them loose. One caution so far. I think we're about to see a whole lot more. Here we come. Green flag back in the air from the World Center of Racing.
Yeah, Yusuf Ghali leading his first lap of the night. He's going to snag that lap lead there, and he's going to get some help from the 16 car behind him. We're going to see if they can get bottled up here. But the 28 and the 20 and the 48 are going to be really bunched up here. Maybe get a move here going for the lead.
So dead heat through the middle of turns 1 and 2 right now. Zach Carr, we talked about a little earlier in the night, was up front for a while, then kind of dropped to mid-pack and has been there ever since, but I'm going to guarantee you he's going to go for a run here to the front. Now some shuffling at the top of the order here, and the 20 car bailed on by, I believe the 48 was in line with him. He drops to the inside and leaves Cockrell moving up to second in the Microsoft 16.
Yeah, the 30 bailed on that 20 there, and he's going to go to the inside, try to get in front of the 20 and try to move up in front of him so he could be the leader instead of that 20. But the 3 of Connor Horn, he's laying back a little bit here, maybe trying to save a few little gallons of fuel here, but doesn't look like much is going to happen. He's going to go to the outside, try to follow that, I'm not sure what that car, the green number car in front of him, I believe that is the 88 of Skylar Shackelford. And I had a look at the teams, or the team calls in there, and they are working together here, so maybe the 3 and 88 are trying to make something happen here.
35 laps to go at the front of the field. Yusuf Ghali is now dead heat with who else than Jeremy Miller in the number 30, the Eco Coast car. He's going to nose ahead. He won this race a couple seasons ago and has found himself at the front in a bunch of plate races. So let's not count him out just yet. He's got the 20 of Calusa behind him as they come out of turn number 4. Another car I see up here is the 10 of Caleb Weekly. That's Mr. Where did he come from? How about 37th to 6th?
Yeah, I believe he has one win in this league, and I believe it was here. I believe in the second race. I'm not sure if the second or the first race, but he has one win in this league at none other than the World Center of Racing. But the 20 with that aggressive move on the inside of the 30 will steal the lead away from the 30.
Yeah, he'll drop to the inside. There's also Joshua Banks. He joined us in the booth for a bunch of races last season, working on some internet issues. He seems like he's gotten those resolved. It hasn't been a problem tonight. Look at this field, though, Liam. This is what makes me nervous. With 30 laps to go in a few laps, we've got basically all the cars that started the race still running, with the exception of Jonathan Hernandez and Eric Mickey. So this concerns me, because when we have a big one, it is going to be a big one.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that these guys are getting a little bit more aggressive here. They're not as aggressive because they're not good on fuel just yet. If the caution came out maybe a few laps later, they could have saved enough. But from what I've seen here, it's not going to be good enough to make it to the end, maybe a few laps short.
Joshua Banks lines up in second place here. Jaron Sanchez, we saw him get loose. That was what triggered that wreck at the exit of turn 2 coming off the banking. But Sanchez escaped without any damage, and here he is running up in 11th and drafting with the 11 of Brian Stewart, who we also have mentioned early in the race but haven't talked about since. 38th to 8th, just as impressive as Miller's climb.
Yeah, Brian Stewart has been, I think this is his first start in this league, but he's been making his way up to the front, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him challenge for the lead light and maybe get the win here. But at 16, also making some moves up to the front. I'm not sure who that is. I don't really have all the names down here. Clifton Cockrell, he's been making some great moves up to the front, and wouldn't be surprising as well to see him up there in the mix late, especially with his teammates in Connor Horn and Skylar Shackelford.
Yeah, speaking of Connor Horn, he got kind of buried with that caution flag. He's back in 16th place now, kind of in the middle of that group on screen. So he's got some work to do to get back forward. Calusa and Miller still side by side for the race lead. A whole host of Camaros broken up by the Toyota of Yusuf Ghali and the Ford of Bryant Stewart inside the top 10. As we approach 30 laps to go, and like I said earlier, Liam, every time we hit 30 laps to go, I don't care if it's at a road course, a short track, or a super speedway, for some reason in my mind, 30 laps to go is when the clock starts ticking to get to the front. And I think we're not going to see the massive charge to the front. We're going to see people just try to work their way forward elegantly and quietly as not to be noticed by their competitors. But Bailey Turner and RJ Root, some of those drivers I think we should keep an eye on, because they've been quiet all night, and here they come.
Yeah, you see everybody, you know, it's just really illustrated by this pack here, with everyone being double file for probably as many lines as we started, at least until the start of the, or from the start of the race. But everyone's starting to get double file here, make some moves up to the front, and hoping their line prevails.
Watching on the East Coast, it's 11:07 p.m. We'll be over and done with if we go green at 11:30 p.m. So do not go anywhere. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here for the Outsider Racing League Race 1 from Daytona on Sim TV. Again, my name's Kyle Heyer, joined by Liam Sheen as we rocket off into turn 1. Miller just led his 5th lap of the day and is looking pretty strong out front. The 20 has not been able to stay even with him here, Liam. So maybe Miller has found his niche up front and is destined to keep it like he did a few seasons ago.
Well, here comes the 20 charging up on the outside with not as strong of a run here, but the 30 of Jeremy Miller, one of the most aggressive drivers in super speedways. Really aggressive push by the 36. Actually kind of surprised that nothing happened there, but that 30 of Jeremy Miller controlling the race here, it's going to be really tough for people to snag the lead away from here, or from him.
Across the start-finish line, Miller leads the 6th lap on the night. Andrew Telganoff is buried back in 12th after that caution sequence, and he's not going to be satisfied here. And he's sort of not directly working with anyone in particular. He's been kind of bouncing around and doing a little bit of everything tonight, and I like that here at Daytona. I don't necessarily like being bound to teammates, Liam. I mean, sometimes it's nice, but other times if your teammates aren't having a good night, then you're left by yourself with no plan. So if you come in without a plan, it's par for the course and you got something figured out.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to go for yourself here, and you know, sometimes that happens with the end of the races. Sometimes manufacturers, teams don't work together here, and it sometimes costs them to win, sometimes helps them gain position. But yeah, sometimes you just got to go for yourself here, and I think that's exactly what they're doing right now.
Really tight with the 42. Zach Floyd going 2 laps down. We have 28 of our 39 drivers on the lead lap. Everyone from Matt Burgess at 29th on back, 1 lap or more down. So the battle for the free pass position is right in the middle of this pack as well. So that's going to get pretty wild. We'll keep an eye on that as we get towards the end, because if the cautions start flying, we'll start giving people laps back and bring more people into the fray. It's just kind of a self-feeding policy. Every time there's a crash, you add another guy to the group. So it can end up kind of hurting yourself a little bit later. But closing in on 25 to go, and Miller again, I'm so impressed with how he was able to control this field at the front.
Ooh, a little bit of a bobble by that 36 behind him, maybe a little bit of a bad push there. But that 20 is trying to make some more and more charges on the outside. And he's getting shoved by the 10 of Caleb Weekly, a previous winner here in this league. And I'm not surprised at all that he's finding his way up into the front of this pack. But it looks like the outside is not as strong as that inside is here.
Did Weekly win at Daytona or was it Talladega? I feel like he might have been at Talladega, but either way.
Talladega, yeah.
It was a plate race, and he is doing a great job right now. And I'm just keeping an eye. This top 10 looks very different than what we saw about 20, 30 laps ago. So I'm not convinced this is the order we're going to see it in at the end of the race. I'd expect Wright and Stravado to make their way back forward. Cabot and Talganoff are all kind of buried in the mid-teens right now. They will not finish there, I promise you. They're going to be moving forward as we hit lap number 75 with Miller still out front.
Yeah, the 30 is getting a little bit more of a challenge from the outside here, but it doesn't look like that outside's working really well. But these outsiders here in the Outsiders Racing League not really taking no for an answer here. We're trying to make that outside line work.
Side by side at the exit of turn 2, Miller on the inside lane. Speeds climbing over 200 miles an hour on the straightaway, and now this is where it starts to get wild. 25 laps to go at the line. And now you've been giving and taking all night. Well, you're going to stop giving and start taking. You've made some deposits. Now it's time to go to the bank and take out some withdrawals here, Liam. So if you've been cutting people breaks all night, it's about to stop.
Yeah, people are trying to make their friends throughout the entire race and hopefully getting some help in return here. But this is about the time where people stop helping each other and start going for themselves here. And that 6 of Andrew Telganoff starting to inch his way back to the front. He's probably thinking maybe they might wreck here. It's not go time quite yet.
The puff of smoke there from, I think there's some net code involved with that as they come out of turn 2. Cabot with a really strong run, and he might take the 12-3 wide. Yes, he is. That 12 car is the first car 1 lap down. But look at the run Cabot's got. He's going to go all the way up to the outside of the 5 and the 11 and try to take the 99 with him. The 99 is another car a lap down. So Cabot with that run, what an unbelievable move. The 20 car gets turned in front of the field. And there they go.
Oh, man, that was huge. Oh, cars upside down, the 99 and 12, both in that. Neither of them are going to get the free pass, but a huge, huge wreck here. That's almost everybody involved. Connor Horn stops just in time, and he's going to get around it, but man, that was a huge, huge wreck.
Oh, that's what happens, I tell you. Every time we only have 1 or 2 cautions in the race, there's always a big one, and it's a big one here. Let's go back, and I think it was a 20 car that originally got turned. And we're going to go back a little farther to pick this up. But it was the 20 car originally. I'm trying to find him in the order. There he is in 19th now. He's right in front of the 10 of Caleb Weekly. And I think we're going to start to see the car get turned right here as Weekly approaches from behind. And he might have his eyes in the mirror here watching the 77. And right here, he's going to get on the left rear quarter. And just as a little net code there, just the slightest of touches sent that 20 car sliding around. The 48, the 33, the 08. Oh, the 10 car. Wow, look at the 11 get airborne.
Yeah, that 11 was a huge hit there. And if you're Adam Cabot right now, you're patting yourself on the back for taking that run there. And that run there just got him clear of that 20. And that whole wreck happened behind him. But, man, that was a huge wreck. Brian Chambliss also involved. You see in real time here. Wow. Man, vicious hit.
The 11 car, Brian Stewart, just got drop-kicked into oblivion as they came through turn 4. Watch this. In the Brian Stewart was having such a good night right here, and everything was going right, and just gets caught up in this, and he's going to get launched in the air after he gets in the wall here. And he's going to land on the side. The 12 car drop kicks him upward and sails over the top, and I think he's going to land on top of the 92 of Matthew Close and bounce back down. Gravity taking him back to the pavement here at Daytona. What a hit, though.
Yeah, gnarly hit by the 10 there. He got a huge, huge hit there. I believe he was the one that initially turned the 20. He didn't get quite by these guys, but huge, huge incident here. We were all knowing it was going to happen, and I wouldn't be surprised because everyone can come down and pit, and it's go time for them. They're going to go for it, and they're going to not leave a single inch for anybody on the track.
right on board here with the 25 car of Tim Downey Jr. from the roll bar and see what he saw at the windshield. And folks, this is going to be smoky and sparky. And Tim Downey did a great job trying to get slowed down, just couldn't quite get stopped. Got in the back of the Pennzoil car. Was that Martin Sproul? That's a name we haven't even mentioned once tonight, quietly hanging out. But a big one here at lap number 76. We'll bring out our second caution of the night, and Jeremy Miller leads the way. And I wish I had a graphic that could show you who wasn't in the wreck, because it would be a pretty small list.
Yeah, it would probably have to be the 7 and probably the other guys in the top 5, top 6. Oh, wow. Yeah, that was maybe 3 or 4 cars that weren't involved in that. So that was a huge incident there. One thing to note about Tim Downey Jr.'s wreck there, he was probably thinking he got lucky there, but Martin Sproul was just in front of him and he wasn't able to get by him.
Yeah, these cars don't, they run smaller brake packages on these cars at super speedways because there's no point in carrying around the weight if you're only going to use the brakes a couple times. And that means that it's pretty tricky to get stopped, especially on the banking when your component isn't straight down into the ground. So some trouble getting stopped there, but no harm on anybody. That was just an innocent mistake there. And I don't think, looking back at that contact, Liam, they definitely was contact. I'm just surprised that it was as vicious as it was. It was just the slightest tap, and the 20 just snapped around like that. So it was a little bit suspect looking there. But with the 1 to green, lights are extinguished atop the pace car, and we're going to re-rack him, restack him, and go for 20 more laps when we get back to the strike.
Yeah, it's the thing about iRacing with the net code. It looks like if you just breathe at a car, the car will get turned if you just get that unlucky net code there, and it looks like that was what happened there with Caleb Weekly. There's obvious contact there, but definitely shouldn't have been as vicious as it was. But we're going to get the 1 to green here, and everyone's going to be double file here. A lot of cars with damage. I'm not surprised at how many that don't have damage right now.
So that thinned out our field significantly. Still, we got a lot of people running, but it's thinned down, I think, the quality of the field quite a bit. So Miller, Banks, Cockrell, Cabot, RJ Root, Ronis, Trejo, Horn, Halpern, and Steve Turner are your top 10. Then it's Zach Carr, Josiah Vincent, Shackelford, Gali, Lakatos. Top 15, then Chambliss, Wagner, Wright, Harmon, and Stravato, the rest of the top 20. We will have 21 laps to go at the restart. That's about 15, 16 minutes worth of racing. Liam, give me a pick. Who wins this race?
I gotta say, the 3 Connor Horn, he got through that clean and pretty much with no damage there. Maybe a little bit of a lick on the left rear, but I think he's going to be the guy that's going to be aggressive and make charges up for the lead and snag the win here tonight.
My pick, race leader, Jeremy Miller. I think he goes all the way and picks up his second victory here at Daytona in 3 seasons. I wouldn't be surprised. He's been dominant ever since he got to the front. I don't think he relinquishes that from here on out. Lined up with the 16 behind him. 21 laps to go from Daytona. As Miller, Banks, Cockrell, Cabot, and Root bring us back to the green flag, we are going to do a Sim TV sound surge on the restart. Hang tight. 32 laps complete of 100 here from Daytona International Speedway. Angelo Ronis in the number 29. He's going to nose the way to the front. He has not led a single lap tonight here, Liam, but he's coming to the front, and he wants to party now as we close in on 15 laps to go.
Yeah, everyone's thinking it's time to go, and they're going to try to make their moves right now, but that 29 not clear of that 30. The 30 a little sideways going into turn 3 there. He hung onto his car there. 77 giving a huge shove to that 29. 16 is trying to go 3 wide on these guys to try to snag a third line going, but he's going to drop in behind his teammate in Connor Horn.
Well, you mentioned Connor Horn on the restart. Here he is up in 6th place now, pushing the 77 to Cabot. Maybe we were sleeping on the Lawn Tech Camaro that Cabot is driving here tonight. He led a bunch of laps earlier this race. I don't think there's any reason why he couldn't win this race. I just thought the 30 car has been so strong since he got to the front, he'd be hard to dethrone. But it's going to be a Chevrolet tonight. Judging by what we've seen, I just think that the strongest cars out there are in the Chevrolet camp this evening in the plate package. That would be, I would assume, Jeremy Miller, the 77 Adam Cabot, or the 3 of Connor Horn. I think Andrew Telganoff was and it still is good enough to win this race, but I just think he needs a couple friends out there. I'm just not sure that he's gotten enough to help him out.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the drivers here. They're pretty much working with who they can here. I mean, there's a lot of Herambone Racing years, or Herambone Racing cars here. I'm not sure that's how exactly you say that name, but that car or that team has pretty much all their cars still running, so they're going to be hard to beat here, and they're all Chevrolets, so it's going to be interesting to see if any of these other cars can try to get by these Herambone Racing cars.
Miller noses ahead into turn number 3. Joshua Banks has been very patiently sitting in second, pushing this 30 car. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him pop out of line towards the end of this race. And I think once the white flag flies, nobody's got any friends out there. Every man for himself when we get down to the end. Next time by 15 laps to go from Daytona.
Yeah, that outside line starting to check up a good bit, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a third line try to form here. But the 30 of Jeremy Miller is going to still lead the field by a whole car length over that 29 of Angelo Horonis on that outside.
Ronis in that 4th place number 29 car has been kind of lingering in the bottom half of the top 10, top half of the top 20 for most of the night. Now he's up there running for the top spot. Clifton Cockrell's been pretty patient lately. Maybe he'll try to push the 3 car forward. But Andrew Telganoff, we know how aggressive he has been tonight. He's been willing to work with anybody and everybody. I think he just needs to get his way past some of these Chevrolets, and then I would say he's a serious contender for the race win.
Yeah, that damage on his right side there you can see is probably not helping him make those moves up there. Maybe stalling him out when he wouldn't be with that damage. Ooh, a lot more damage on the back end of that car. Maybe it's discouraging other people from working with him. So he's going to try to get into the inside here, make it so no one can pass him.
Yeah, you mentioned the damage, and you're right. The rear bumper, people aren't going to push you if you've got a damaged rear bumper because you'll just end up hooking it and sending them around for a loop. So there's definitely a level of care that has to be taken when pushing damaged race cars. The 30 car, big slip sideways as he gets a shove from the 36 of Joshua Banks. That will give Ronis the momentum he needs to nose out in front as they climb the bank in 3 and 4.
Yeah, that 29 is going to try to get as much of a shove from that 77 as he can, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to clear that 30 off the corner. 30 a little wobbly off that corner, but he's going to keep that momentum. He's going to lead the lap at the line. Here he comes. 29 of Angelo Horonis leads another lap here tonight.
Lap 87 of 100. We're counting them down. About 10 minutes of racing left to go. 2 cautions tonight. 1 little, 1 big. I'm just not convinced that we're totally done yet. The 2 ORL-sponsored cars side by side, the 6 and the 9. And Chevrolet on one, Ford on the other. Not teammates necessarily, but in very similar prepared cars here.
Yeah, those two are not working together. Ooh, a 30 with a big move on the inside. Looks like a little bit of a bobble there, but he blocked that number 36 all the way down to the inside line. Not even surprised by this by Jeremy Miller. He's one of the most aggressive guys up here. Blowing up car on pit road. Not sure who that is, but he's going to keep it down there 42.
As Zach Floyd in the 42 car, he has had such a great night. Jumping back up to some of the Toyotas, Yusuf Ghali, Alex Bell, they're near each other. Some damage sustained in a couple incidents tonight, but mostly clean. And they're not done yet. They're sitting back here 16th, 17th. Let me tell you, they're not going to sit back here all day long, and they're going to take the fight to the Chevrolets here not too long from now. Ghali jumps up behind the 26 of Zach Halpern, and maybe the Toyotas can start working together here towards the end. All Chevrolets and a few Fords spattered in the top 5 right now.
These guys are probably trying to hint at these other cars by making those moves to the 3 or to the top line and saying, hey guys, want to go? Like, they're probably trying to go to the 3rd line to try to signal to everybody that, hey, we can do this, we can make it up to the front, you just have to work with it.
Trejo has found his way back inside the top 5, and he was battling for the race lead for a bunch of laps earlier. He led only 2, but he's back up and battling now. It's getting a little bit crazy. Back mid-pack, the 15 is 3 wide with the 18 car. That's Matt Wagner. He's back on the lead lap after having a poor start to the night. And it's getting pretty crowded up towards the front, I'd say, as we approach 11 laps to go. And look at Trejo jumping up in front of the 29 of Veronis now.
Yeah, that 21's been aggressive all night, and he's been the guy that's been challenging for the lead the entire night. It's going to be interesting to see how he takes the fight to that 30 of Jeremy Miller.
Whoa, big slide for the 77 on it. Oh, no, there they go. Car around behind him. And caution.
That'll be a caution. Yeah, that was a huge wreck there. More cars involved. That's 9 of Brian Chambliss. Oh, you hate to see that. What a strong run he had here tonight. And I believe that is the 27. I'm not sure who that is.
That's the 92 of Matt Close. As he hits pit lane in the Berlin Raceway. I think that was a Chevrolet at one point tonight, but now it doesn't really resemble much of anything. Let's go back and have a look here. I don't know. Was it the 92? Well, look at the 24. He's crabbing. And the 92, they were just real slow. The 24 pulls off the racetrack. And I think the 77 just drifted up into the 92. That's what triggered that whole mess. Oh, the 18 got tagged. I think the 54 gets a piece of this at the end as the 92 comes back across right there.
That wreck to look way worse than it was, but unfortunately, misjudgment by that 77 to try to pull out on that 92 after he got clear, but just a little too soon.
I'm not even sure he pulled up. I think he just drifted wide. Wow, the 9 car got body slammed. And a pretty sizable hit to the inside safer barrier on the front stretch.
Man.
But just running out of space there, Liam, with 10, 11 laps to go. There's just too many cars and too small of a space.
Yeah, that 77 just drifted up way too far up on that 92 and just wasn't clear. Man, you hate to see that for Brian Chambliss. I'm not sure if that'll be engine damage, but definitely won't be challenging for the lead unless there's a huge wreck on the last lap, which I wouldn't be surprised to see with how aggressive this field has been getting.
Yeah, Yusuf Ghali is out for the night. That's really unfortunate after having such a pretty promising night. Almost made it through right here. Sees the car, slows down. Probably should have taken pit lane here in hindsight. Tries to turn back to the racetrack, and that was a mistake there for Ghali. I think I would have just gone for the pit lane there, Liam. But unfortunately, Ghali done for the night after having such a promising start with his teammates earlier in the evening.
Yeah, you just gotta hate to be all those cars just not even being wrecked by the incident in the main pack. Just unfortunate timing with those cars getting lapped and people trying to pull out of line. We're drifting up. It's just unfortunate to see those guys taken out.
Well, we were doing so well for so long. We only had one caution up to lap number 76. Then all hell broke loose on the back straightaway. We wadded up about, 20 cars. Or actually, I think it was turn 3 that we saw the big one. Then, most recently, we had another issue here on the front straightaway. As they, that was actually, coming out of turn 4. I'm trying to lose track. How many cautions have we had? We have had 3.
I believe this is our 3rd.
Yes.
Yeah. This is our 3rd ongoing now.
So we had the one after the pit stop sequence, jumping back up onto the racetrack. Our second one was the big mess in the entrance to turn 3. Then our 3rd and most recent was the crash we just saw out of turn number 4. So Miller leads the way here, Liam. Reevaluating your choice, or you're still sticking with the 3 at Connor Horn? Let's have a chat here with Connor Horn, see if he's willing to have a conversation. Hey, Connor, it's Kyle from SimTV. Got a copy?
Oh, hi. Yeah, I do.
Are you busy right now?
No, I'm just taken by surprise.
Okay, well, welcome. Well, tonight's been pretty wild out there. We were doing so well for so long that had some big crashes, but you've survived the melee. Jeremy Miller's up front, though. He's been pretty solid. Do you think you can go up there and beat him?
I'm not sure. If we're not restarting on the first 2 rows, it's going to be a slim chance with 8 to go. So hopefully, maybe I can get some help from someone behind me to get a 3rd line going, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay in the 2nd lane and get something going. I hope Jeremy could win it. He hasn't won in a while, and he could really help it. I know Banks is with him for the most part, and I know Cappett's really fast. So just hopefully Jeremy can hold on here for the win. But I'm definitely going to try to get up there and make things interesting.
All right, Connor, good luck. Where did I pull you from? I don't remember. I was working fast.
HBR.
All right, I will move you back there.
All those cars. Yep.
Where'd you come from?
Thank you.
HBR.
Yeah, HBR.
Harambo.
Yeah.
Okay,
Harambo. I can get it right.
All right. We'll see you later, Connor. Good luck.
See you.
Harambo, Liam, in case you were wondering, as Jeremy Miller will choose the inside lane. Is that the right choice here? He's got the 36 behind him. They've been working together nicely all night. Is that the move you pull? I don't know know if I still have Liam. I don't know if he's around, but we're still back. Oh, there you're back.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I would think that is the right move for the 30. Yeah, I think he pulled up with his teammate last time by with the 77 on that last restart. He took the outside, so very interesting choice there. But to go back to your comment on the 3 of Connor Horn, I think he'll, as long as he has 4 wheels on that car still going, I think he'll be able to make it happen here.
All right, it's time to finish this one out. Going to be an 8-lap shootout to the end. Decision: do we go green to the end, or do we have a caution here?
I gotta say, I mean, if they're gonna wreck, there's definitely gonna be a wreck. It's just a question if it happens on the last lap or the.
Yeah, that's gonna. I think you're right. I think it'll be either with 3 or 4 laps to go, or it'll be on the white flag. I think we'll make it to that point. We'll see if we can get all the way to the end, though. Jeremy Miller, Trejo, Banks, Ronis, green flag back in the air. 8 laps to go from the World Center of Racing. We're back racing from Daytona.
Apologies for that. Something came up, but we have a few laps to go left in this race. The 30 is going to be the one to beat here at this closing laps of this race.
Miller nose to tail. The 21 didn't get a very good restart, though, and people are getting restless in behind him. Connor Horn, one of those drivers. Steve Turner going to look to driver's right. He'll pull up alongside second place Joshua Banks with a big head of steam coming from the 44 of Josiah Vincent. Drag race down the backstretch, and it looks like the 46 might pull even with the race leader as they enter turn number 3 with a huge shove from the 44.
Yeah, that 44 has been pushing that 46 up here through the field this entire race, and it looks like he's going to try to get that 46 challenging for the lead here, but it's going to be interesting to see how those Harambone racing cars are going to take the fight to that those 2 cars up there on the outside.
7 laps to go this time through. That time Turner leads the lap just by a nose. Miller side by side with him as they head off into turn 1. 2 wide, 10 rows deep. The top 20 all on top of each other. And now we have to pick from this list. And I'd tell you, Andrew Talganoff has worked his way back up inside the top 5, and he's been a dark horse all night. Without any buddies, I think he might be a good choice as well.
Yeah, with that damage on the right front of him, you could see that separation between him and the car in front of him. It looks like it's hurting him a lot more than I expected. So, especially with that back-end damage on that 6 car, it's going to be interesting to see if anyone will work with him. But I'm sure if someone works with him, they'll be able to make something happen here.
Oh, the 46, I think he wanted it inside lane. Didn't go for it, though. Not quite enough space to jump in there. We're 3 wide with Connor Horn in the middle. The 77 up top, and that's a bad place for Connor Horn to be with 6 laps to go. You're sort of trapped back there. I like where the 46 is. I like where the 44, the 36, and the 30 are. I also like where the 6 and 21 are. Anything beyond that, I don't think it's possible to get to the front in less than 5 laps.
Yeah, unless they make a move right now, I don't think anything's going to happen. But I think those guys that went 3 wide actually signaled that they want to make something happen back there. But Connor Horn, doesn't look like his chances are looking really bright right now.
Alex Bell has crept up in the top 10 for the first time in a while. Eddie Trejo still looking pretty racy up top as well. Turner not able to keep even with Miller as they exit turn number 4, but he's carrying that run. And I wonder if Josiah Vincent is seeing if they can beat the 30 to the line, pushing and shoving. This time through, not quite. Miller will lead that lap. 5 laps to go from Daytona.
Here comes Connor Horn on the outside with help from the 27. Doesn't look like much is going to happen here, but he's only 3 cars away from that lead. They're actually making something work up here. Only all the way up to 5th now. Challenging for 6th right now. He's going to try to make something happen. Another car jumps out. The 77 Adam Cabot. The 25 of Tim Downey is going to jump out. I'm not sure if that's 25.
No, it's the 3 of Connor Horn. It's the 27 of Zach Carr. We haven't seen in a really long time. And the 26 is Zach Halpern. We're 3 wide for 3rd place now as they come through 3 and 4. And Connor Horn is bringing a head of steam forward as they rocket out of turn number 4 this time. 4 laps to go, and Horn is bringing them to the front. Here they come.
Yeah, that 3 has been making it work up here, and it only took 1 lap or something to happen here, but now no one in the back of this pack can make something happen with a whole track block. It's pretty much a dam in front of the track with the 30, the 46, and the 3 trying to make something happen. Outside's starting to get bottled up a little bit, but that inside's not looking really strong anymore, but everyone's trying to make something work here.
30 car Miller leads the way, but it's not by more than half a car length. The 46 of Turner getting a shove from Josiah Vincent. The outside lane has sort of died. Connor needs a push from the 27 to Carr. He didn't get it that time through. Now he gets it on corner entry. It's going to be 3 laps to go. This time by when they get to the line. Miller still noses ahead. He has not relinquished the lead for more than a lap at a time since he got there. He won Daytona a few seasons ago, but here comes Steve Turner with a big shove now. Horn drops into the middle groove, now to the top again, and he'll pick up the 27 once again. Look at Steve Turner to the bottom of the racetrack.
Close Quarters there with that 3 on the move on the outside. I think he's only clear by maybe an inch or so, but he's going to try to get to the outside, trying to get on that 44, try to get clear of him so he can be in the leader of the outside line. But the 30 of Jeremy Miller, he's going to push that 46 all the way up to the front. He's going to pull outside of him. Here comes the 30 of Jeremy Miller, the 3 of Connor Horn on the outside. They're going to try to make some.
Oh, no, they touch. Big slide. And they're going to crash behind him. We're going to get a green-white checkered here as the field wads it up in turn number 3. And waiting for the caution, there it is. Green-white checkered as the 44 of Vincent, the 16 Eclipse and Cockrell, and more are spun in 3 and 4.
Oh, really close there with that damaged car. I think that was a 7 of RJ Root, but it was just a matter of time before these wrecks would start breaking it out, and with how close they were, I'm not surprised at all that it happened on the backstretch. Eddie Trejo also involved.
Josiah Vincent is junk, and that was such a good race car and could have won this race, but it just didn't work out that way. Let's have a look at how this started from up above. I think I saw, was it the 21 maybe giving the 44 a shove here? There it is right there, and he's going to get knocked into the 36, bounce off of him, and then go back up into the 21 and get hung up there.
Oh, hate to see it.
Look at Cabot sniping the way through. Cockrell just an innocent victim, and there's where the big impact is for the 44. Alex Bell getting a piece of it.
21 was such a promising run tonight. He's been running up front all night, and unfortunately that competitive race car is going to come to a pretty much a pile of scrap after Daytona here tonight. 44 also involved. 3 Connor Horn, I believe he's in the catbird seat. We kind of written him off here, but I believe he's in third or first or second right now. He's in the top 3 right now. And
Seas parted behind Adam Cabot as the field basically wrecks out behind him. And again, only our 4th caution on the night as we go overtime here. We're going to step away for just a moment. We'll be back in just a few minutes with the green flag and the run to the end. Welcome back live here to Sim TV as we get ready to finish this one out, the first race of the Fall 2020 Outsider Racing League season. And before we kind of lay the line for you and get you set up for the last 2 laps of this race, remind you that 1 week from now, Saturday night, 10 o'clock p.m., I will be at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin's Road America in person and in the sim. We'll be here for the Outsider Racing League, and I will be at the racetrack streaming that event from the Road America Media Center. And it'll be an event that you will not want to miss. So make sure that you tune in 10 o'clock next week. Keep an eye on our Facebook page, which is in the link in the description, or here on YouTube to make sure that you don't miss that event. It's going to be a fun one. So tune in next Saturday, 10 p.m., as I'll be there for Grid Life's Elkhart Classic starting on Friday next week. Coming to the restart here, Liam, 2 laps to go when we get the green flag again. Steve Turner, Connor Horn, your picks up front. Mine is back in 3rd. What do you like better?
I got to stay with my pick there on the 3, Connor Horn. I believe he has a friend with that 27 car behind him. I'm not sure if they're teammates, but that 3 has been really strong all night. He's the one that made, or initiated that 3-wide move, and then he timed it right twice, and that wreck happened right behind him, and he got this way all the way from, I believe it was probably 11th at one point, the lap before, all the way up to 2nd and 3rd now, or now he's 2nd. He was 3rd, but got lucky with the timing and scoring there, and he will be the guy to be on the outside pole, or outside row for this, or outside the front row for this restart.
So Connor Horn and Zach Carr are not teammates. I don't think it matters. I think they're gonna everyone's man for themselves now. I think you're gonna help friends momentarily, just to get yourself in a better spot. I don't think there's anybody helping anybody beyond the exit of turn 2 here after this restart. It will be 2 laps to go. This race was originally scheduled for 100 laps. The race will now be 103. We'll get another chance for a green-white checker before we wrap things up and call it a quit for the night. Next week we'll be at Road America. This is the final 5 miles from Daytona International Speedway. Steve Turner in the number 46 alongside Connor Horn. And from the World Center of Racing at Daytona Beach, green flag back in the air and a good restart for Steve Turner. A little bit of a wheel spin there, but he got a better restart than the 3 of Connor Horn. Let's see what Jeremy Miller does here, Liam, as they get up under speed and change through the gears.
Yeah, I thought he was going to pull upside right there, but he's going to stay in line, try to push that 46 clear, and try to link up with that 3, his teammate there in Connor Horn.
Keep an eye on Andrew Telganoff back 4th in line on the inside row here. The 3 of Connor Horn up on the outside. A couple Chevrolets. Here comes a 30 jumping up to the outside lane. Will Connor Horn work with them? It looks like he will for now, as they're going to drag race down the backstretch 3 wide, because here comes Banks up the inside that absolutely obliterated the run that the 46 had and moved Connor Horn to 2nd and Jeremy Miller to the top spot. Keep in mind that the timing and scoring will have to revert to the top side here, as it will only update once every lap as they come out of 4. Jeremy Miller leads the way. White flag in the air as Connor Horn noses ahead.
Connor Horn is going to be your leader on this lap. I believe it'll be his first lap right all night. He's going to nose ahead on that 30. But here comes that 27. He's been making huge moves on this last lap. Here comes the 77 on the outside. The 3rd teammate left in this race.
Oh, look out. 3 car. He's wide. The 27 car roaming up the inside. He couldn't quite get there. The 30 and the 36 pushing hard on the bottom. Alex Bell's going to have a big run coming from 3rd in line on the inside. But 4 cars line astern. The 46 going to bail. That's going to kill them a middle line momentum. The 27 and 3 pushing their way forward. Connor Horn was the season champion only a couple months ago. Could he go and win the first race of this season? Miller with a big shove to the back of the 3. Can he get back to the stripe first? Checkered flag waving from Daytona. Drag race back to the stripe. Connor Horn from championship last year to the win of the first race this year. Connor Horn wins at Daytona.
What an exciting last lap. Connor Horn timed that last lap move perfectly, and he came down on that 30, and that was pretty much all she wrote there. But a big wreck on the back, or at the end of this race, coming to the line. 33 of AJ Stravado also involved in that. But man, what a huge move for that 3 of Connor Horn. I told you, he was not going to be denied here tonight, and Connor Horn will snag his first win of the season. I'm not surprised at all to see him up front and at the number 1 spot.
Note the gap between 2nd and 3rd. There was none. 0.055 seconds back from the race leader. They tied for 2nd, but they gave it to Miller. That is a pretty wild way to finish things out. But Connor Horn expertly put himself in position. There's a reason why he won the championship last season, Connor. He's just really, really good. Banks 4th, Cabot 5th, Steve Turner in 6th. No one will win the Dash for Cash tonight. Alex Bell, the highest of the Sim Motorsports drivers in 9th, and also the highest of the Dash for Cash drivers. Let's go back here after we run through the results, and we'll show you the finish in slow motion. I think we're going to need a minute to really to take it in. We'll also go down and show you Connor Horn celebrating, and it's always special to win at Daytona, even in the sim environment. But this is a heck of a start to the season here for the 3 car.
Yeah, I don't believe he'll be running full-time in this series for points. I think he'll be jumping in the booth here and there, but Connor Horn with really great aggressive moves at the end of the race put him in victory lane.
Celebrations and elation for the 3 of Connor Horn. Let's go back and look at it and watch it in slow motion and really get to enjoy the closing moments of this race and how it all went down. Here they come out of turn number 4, and we'll go back a little farther than this and look at how the move all happened. But I want to watch the battle between Jeremy Miller and Zach Carr, because they tied at the start-finish line. That is how close it was as they came to the stripe. And Horn won by 55 thousandths. For 2nd, it was a dead heat. And here's a look at what that looks like. That is unbelievable. Look at for 4th as well. Joshua Banks and Adam Cabot only separated by 4 thousandths. That's pretty unbelievable. Let's go back and have a look here at the lap just prior to this as they were coming on through. And Horn just gets a big shove from the 27. And as soon as he gets that, I think, does he drop in front right here? He's going to drop in front of the 30 in 1 and 2. No, not quite.
I believe it was in 3 and 4 is when Connor eventually dropped in front of the 30. I think he was giving the 30 the chance to, get that little bit of momentum from the 36 behind him. But once he got that shove from the 27, I think it was pretty much all over.
Yeah, and there's that big run, and I think he realizes right here if he pulls down, he's got this thing won. And Cabot wasn't able to give a big enough shove to the 27. That line had opened up, and Carr could have taken that to the win had he gotten a bigger push from the 77, just not quite enough there. And then the drag race to the checkers, a great one here as they came on through. Look at the 29 Aronis getting into the 46. That's where that crash happened, and there was that battle for third. And Turner came across the line 3 wide and sideways.
And a big rally back for Andrew Telganoff. I think he finished 8th out of that? Yeah, around 8th.
Place. Alex Bell,
that
9th.
Damaged car.
And AJ Stravato, 10th. Casey Lakatos just missed out on a top 10. He finished in 11th. Here's one last look through our results before we take a quick break and come back for interviews in just a moment. But a wild race here from Daytona and some good runs for some new names, but it was not an easy night for some of the newer names. Zach Floyd, Matt Burgess, Jaron Sanchez, Matthew Close, all 31st or worse. Jonathan Hernandez was our pole sitter. He goes from first to dead last and is the last driver running 39 laps down at the end of the race. We'll be back in just a moment for race interviews. Stay with us. Welcome back live to Sim TV and the Outsider Racing League. First race of the season from the World Center of Racing at Daytona International Speedway. We're here now with our third place finisher, Zach Carr. Zach, you tied Jeremy Miller for a second spot. 55 thousandths back from Connor Horn. Dead heat at the line. Wild race, though. Take us through your start from second, dropping back mid-pack, and then charging all the way back to a podium, top 5 spot to the end of the race.
Yeah, it was an entertaining race for sure. I mean, I decided to run up front for the first part, just try to get a point for leading the lap or something. And then, my teammates were in the back, Matt and RJ and Josh. So we tried to hook up, and then we ended up getting with the Harambe drivers of Jeremy and them. And field strategy for us, we kind of separated our two teams on field strategy because, differences, of course. And then, finally we ended up linking up, and then, more cautions kept coming out and stuff. And then that big one at the end there, thankfully me and Connor didn't get caught up in that. That was great save by Josh. And then, just working together till the end. It was a great race.
Well, we can't ignore the road course situation. Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course last season absolutely dominated that. Let's talk a little bit about Road America next week. That's a new one for a lot of people. We have not yet run that track on an Outsider Racing League schedule. Is that a race that you view as a must-win or that you should win, or are you going into that with expectations to just have a good solid top 5 or top 10?
Whenever I come into a road course race now, I just expect the top 3 for sure, guaranteed. I mean, Connor, me and him, we're just right there together. And then, of course, there's the once in a while, and there's some other guys that will pop up there. I don't know about a must win, but I'm expecting to do really good and really excited for that one, too.
All right, Zach. Hey, nice job tonight. We'll see you next week at Road America.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Kyle.
Sure thing. Moving on now to Jeremy Miller, who was second place tonight. He won Daytona a few seasons ago. 55 thousandths of a second short tonight, Jeremy. Strong effort, but just got edged out by Connor Horn there at the end. Take us through your race tonight, your charge forward, and the near miss to a checkered flag at the end.
Yeah, I mean, we have a great group of guys over at Harambe Racing and at our sister organization, Car Racing Inc. now. And when you put us together, you're not going to beat us at a place like this. And we showed that tonight. I mean, we finished first through fourth working together and just really passed anybody with ease when we wanted to and got in line together. It was a really smart game plan that we put together as a team, and we brought home a great result.
Well, I think there was a certain point in the race when I saw you get to the front and you were basically stayed there for 10, 15, 20 laps. How confident were you at that point that you'd be able to hang on? And was Connor Horn the driver that you were looking in the mirror and going, maybe he's the one that's going to get me?
I mean, me and Connor are committed to each other until the last lap at a place like this. So, I mean, at that last lap, racing is racing. He got me. I mean, he's the ORL goat. I'm the plate goat, and Zach's the paint goat, and the blank goat finished in fourth. So, it was a great run to the end there, and I just made a bad choice when I got cleared the bottom. I probably should have stayed on Connor's front bumper. Instead, I went down and tried to get with Banks and was hoping he could push me out clear by a ton like he had before with about 15 to go and a couple of other times. Just didn't work out, but I'll definitely take second.
All right, Jeremy Miller, second place tonight. If you're starting in 8th, Jeremy, we'll see you at Road America.
All right, thanks.
Connor Horn won the championship last season and kicks off the fall season with a race win. Not a championship run for you this time around, Connor, but a great way to start your part-time season in victory lane in a good wrench number 3 Chevrolet. As always, that's a classy thing to do, but where'd you come from? You just kind of snuck up there at the end and stole it away from Jeremy Miller, who had led the last portion of the race. Take us through that restart and the run to the end.
That was a huge run to the end. I knew the restart was about with 8 to go. Our only shot was to get a third lane formed, and that's what we did. I was pretty far back there in the middle lane, and I was clear. Cabot was up there trying to go with Jeff, and they hit the wall. It didn't work, and Zach got clear. So Zach Carr got clear. So I was lining up for a run on the outside, and we made it work. He tapped the wall a little bit. We were up there tandeming, getting to the front. We got even with them. We got 3 wide for the lead, and then he tapped the wall and won. And then we went for it again. I was able to get to the middle, so he was still getting pushed by, I think, Halpern, so he had time to cool his engine. So we went for it again, and we had the track position there. And when Jeremy went for the lead, something happened. I think Banks almost got turned, really bottlenecked the field up. So that was the real reason why we all got up there, me and Zach. That was big. So big shout out to Zach Carr for that push there. And then on the restart, we knew the 46 wasn't winning. We pretty much had 4 of us against 1, so that was pretty easy. The Banks had a clutch move to go 3 wide on the bottom on Steve Turner, so it was able to just be us 4 for the win. I almost killed Jeremy 4 coming to the white, and I just stuck with Zach because he was pushing so well, and luckily it got me to the victory lane.
Connor, congratulations. Next week, Road America, that's got to be a popular one for you as well. Are you planning on running that one?
I might. We'll have to see. But Road America is tough. It was really tough when I went there in another league with that new damage model killing the front ends of these cars. But luckily, it's the old damage model. It's an interesting track. I might run it. I might not. Not quite sure yet. But you'll definitely see me in about 2 weeks' time at North Wilkesboro. That one will be fun. And I hope to see. Hopefully, we can get in victory lane again. That'll be great.
All right, Connor. Good luck to you next week. We'll see you later.
Thank you so much. Shout out to all my teammates at Haram Racing. Also, shout out to Car Racing Industries. They did well, too. Thank you, Zach Carr, for that push.
All right, Connor Horn from championship winner to race winner tonight at Daytona. Liam, that's going to wrap things up for the racing tonight. Thanks for joining me here. Next week, though, the National Park of Speed. If you're watching, do not pull away just yet. We are not done broadcasting here yet tonight. Stay tuned for 2 special videos to wrap things up. But, Liam, final thoughts from Daytona.
Yeah, I think it was it really showed how much teams matter at these plate tracks. I mean, sometimes you can get it done without them, but it's usually bearing a last lap wreck, and it really shows that how important teams are here tonight. And Haram Racing has obviously been the team to beat at these plate tracks, as he heard from Connor Horn in his post-race interview that no one was going to beat them.
33 lead changes in a 103-lap race. That's pretty phenomenal. Not sure it'll be that many next week at Road America, but stay tuned for the end of the broadcast, and we'll see you next Saturday night at 10 p.m. Thanks for watching.
If there's one place that defines American motorsport, it's here. The sandy beaches a few miles away held races for decades. It's where NASCAR was born. They need a place to race, a super speedway so fast and so huge that the cars could run flat out all the way around. So they built it. 1 million square yards of earth was moved to create the banking. The void left behind became Lake Lloyd. And 2.5 miles of asphalt created more than just one of the most beautiful racetracks in the world. It built the foundation of NASCAR. In the decades that followed, Daytona became hallowed ground. The trophies here mean more than any other. Win the 500, put your name on the Harley J. Earl Trophy. Win the 24 hours and strap a Rolex on your wrist. The banks are not always kind. They're not always fair. And while Daytona wins bring a statistical highlight to any career, it's the losses that make it seem pointless. But for every untimely ending, there is a triumphant healing. For every emotional victory, a mind-numbing realization.
Tom O'Gorman fighting for every inch that he can possibly get. Won the last T-Scar race of last year, Road Atlantic, starting things off in exactly the right style. It is victory for Tom O'Gorman and the LA Combo team.
I won at Daytona. I earned a trophy at the World Center of Racing. The checkered flag waved for me. For me, it was not the end of a career. While it may be a highlight, it is only the beginning. It's just the best ever.
For those who competed decades ago, speeding down highways, through towns, country roads. For those who sat watching on the sides of the street, who found solace in chaos and thunderous speed. Even for those who grew up without the sights and the sounds, and live without race cars shaking the ground. Who don't understand why racing appeals to our fascination, wonder, and the way that we feel. A purpose-built place to camp and spend time with friends, watching racing together until darkness descends. Though no longer do the streets rumble and roar, there's a place just for this, a park to explore.
A road racing circuit before the assault. The 4 twisting, beautiful miles at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. For 6 brutal, ear-shattering hours, its serenity will be violated by the raw power of screaming racing machines. It's the famed end-of-season endurance classic, the Road America 500. The specially constructed race circuit at Elkhart Lake at normal speed is a scenic 4-mile drive through fall-tinted Wisconsin countryside.
Hidden by forests near Elkhart Lake, not a path nor a trail, but a road meant to race. In a town too quiet, the refuge we seek, Road America, the racetrack, the national park of speed.